I took the butcher knife and put it up to her neck. I said, if you want to live to see tomorrow, you better start frying them eggs a little bit better than what you're frying. I'm tired of eating sloppy, slimy eggs.
What the fuck?
I don't know why that was clipped, but it worked at least.
What's going on? Yeah, Brad, that was good, man. That was good.
Yeah.
Hello.
I didn't make an intro for a documentary stream. Luckily,
Yeah,
we already did one. I just
Yeah.
picked all the number ones from our stream.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it was nice to see a bit of Ray Harryhausen in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
and I don't think that was Gizmo's number one, but I made it Gizmo's number one. The Dear Zachary. It might have been his number one. I'm not sure. Was that your number one?
It was number one first. Yeah, last time. Yeah.
Was it?
Really solid documentary.
So, guys, we're back here with number 2 of our favorite documentaries. The first one just blew up the internet, so we had to do another one. Everybody kept aggravating us in the, in the chat, whatever, want more of this. First one was so exhilarating.
Everywhere I went, people would be like, "Oh my God, aren't you the 4K tent revival? You guys should do another documentary thing."
So I expect the same 9 or 10 people from the first time will probably be here. But if you are, I appreciate y'all watching. But yeah, this should be a good time, man. It's always good to find some new documentaries and kind of look around, try to find some shit you've never seen. And pretty much all the ones that I pulled for this were all first time watches. So I'm not the biggest documentary guy. I would say probably out of these 4, I'm probably the least biggest fan of documentaries. I do like them, but it was probably like my 4th or 5th down as far as my favorite genre. But yeah, there's some good ones out there. I'm excited to see what everybody else pulled. I mean, the last time I got some good recommendations, so I'm looking at this as kind of a personal recommendation list, more of a top 5.
That's basically what it is. It's all recommendation.
Yeah. Let's see what we got out there. Of course, we can't start without the man.
There's so much to choose from as well as.
Yeah. Wild Wrangler, what's going on? Says hello, everybody. This fucking weirdo's here. Gizmo loves critters. What's up, Sculptor? What's going on, buddy? Oh, there's the other part of this crazy mess.
What's
going on, bro?
Sorry, guys. I was a little bit late. I apologize, but I am here now.
All right. Wild Wrangler saying hey to Gizmo and the Holland. Fuck everybody else. Magic Hands, what's going on? I want to say hey back to Wrangler Scolder and Magic Hands. What's going on, Anthony? Gizmo for president. Everybody's still saying hey to everybody. Wild Wrangler said, Pops do a big truck top 5 movies. My number 1 is Convoy 1978. It's got potential.
A trucking top 5?
I'd have to come up with 5.
Probably 5. Over the top. Smokey and the Bandit. Smokey and the Bandit.
I was also
2,
taking over the top right away.
3.
Yeah, Smokey and the Bandit 2. Smokey and the Bandit 3.
Yeah, I don't know if 3 would even make that list. Pretty bad. Dan Dirty 8, what's going on?
Joyride.
Joyride's a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a whopping 8 people out there, y'all. But I appreciate y'all being here.
It's always a hot stream. You just got to be ready. Be
always,
ready for chats. I mean, this is always a big earner. I mean, everybody loves documentaries.
And damn, I forgot to monetize this. Damn it. Oh well.
Oh no, dude! Start it all over.
Yeah, Maximum Overdrive. That would be going on, Dirk.
Yeah. Dirk, what's going on, man?
Oh,
Trini in the house. What's going on, Trini?
Trini.
So, all right, guys. Well, I guess we'll get started here. We start with our number 5, and yeah, man, love that movie.
I know.
I got that steelbook ordered. We'll be here sometime, I guess.
Nice.
So, Anthony, it's like you're in the first chair there, man. So you're gonna get to go first.
Yeah, dude. So, yeah, like I was saying while I was backstage, I've got a couple of weird documentaries here. And the first one is definitely weird. You guys won't have heard of this TV series. So, for me, growing up, 70s, early 80s, Saturday morning TV was a huge. I don't know if you guys experienced the same thing in the United States, but here in the UK, obviously, at that time, we was only privy to 4 channels. So we only had 4 terrestrial TV stations in the UK. And Saturday morning, ITV&T dedicated children's slots, dedicated kids slots from early hours in the morning till around just before lunchtime. And ITV did it really well. BBC also did it really well. But within those early time slots, there was generally one TV show on each station. And within that TV show, they showed other TV shows. I know that sounds a weird format. I know that sounds really odd, but that's the way Saturday morning kids TV works in the UK. And for me, the first thing I remember is this show here. And the show was called Tiswas. Tiswas. And it was a kids' TV show that showed other shows within the show. But as far as this went, this is the very, very first show that I can remember. So this aired from 1974 right up till 1983. This documentary itself sort of breaks the show down over its entire sort of lifespan with when it was on. The documentary itself is about 2.5 hours long. It's split into 3 sections. It's split into a section where they go back and speak to some of the presenters. Some of the presenters for this was the sort of like first forte into TV. Most of the presenters went on to do bigger things, whether they were stand-up comedians, TV show hosts, a number of different things that the presenters this went on to do. But it was mostly remembered for what it did to the children that was in the audience. Now, kids' TV shows on the Saturday morning on the UK always had a large child audience. There was always loads of kids participating in the TV show itself. And this one was absolutely fucking mental. They had kids locked in cages. They were firing water cannons at them. They were throwing custard pies at them. It was just sheer chaos for the whole sort of like 4 hours that it was on.
Can I be honest? I thought this was going down a dark road when you started the kids in the audience.
What this did, they sort of had, there was like four main people that presented it, and then they had guest presenters. So they had like some of the Monty Python crew came onto this, some real like stand-up normal presenters, guys that were like dedicated news anchors and stuff like that, and they had them doing stupid skits for kids TV. But not only was it a show that kids could sort of get the teeth into and really have fun with on a Saturday morning, but the humor was also aimed at adults as well. So it crossed the entire board on a Saturday morning of everything. The actual documentary itself is, like I say, it's shot in like a completely different style. It shows you montages, the best parts of the show for the sort of 7 or 8 years that it ran, interlaced with sort of interviews with different people, like Chris Tarrant's one of the guys on the front here. He went on to do bigger things. So it's a bit of a mismatch. I mean, if you're in the UK and the company that put this out, Network, I mean, they've done absolutely loads in the UK, documentaries and TV stuff, and they do it really, really well. But this was...
It looks like Johnny from The Karate Kid. That one dude. I got the dude Johnny there.
It looks like Ray Harryhausen on the right there.
It was a bonkers show. I mean, at the top it says beware the phantom flanflinger, and it was basically just one dude that was just dressed in a black costume with a balaclava on that would just appear from nowhere at any point in time and just start throwing custard pies at people for no fucking apparent reason. It didn't matter if there was a presenter. It didn't matter if there was a guest. It didn't matter if it was the kids in the audience. This guy was just terrorizing everybody. Unscripted, completely unscripted, absolute chaos. But it was really fun. I mean, shows like this now would never work. They just wouldn't be allowed to do it anymore. It was close to the knuckle for a Saturday morning kids TV show, but everyone really remembers it.
You can't just show up and assault people anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if you catch bits of this on YouTube, if you go and try and find any of it, it's like the health, it wouldn't pass health and safety specs anymore. There's kids falling over, there's people slipping and nearly fucking breaking legs. It's just sheer carnage for the whole like 4-hour run that it was on. But it was really enjoyable for what it was. And like I say, it's the first step and the first sort of thing that I remember of kids TV on a Saturday morning. And this release that they put out, I mean, this is quite an old release now. This is from like the early 2000s. But it was good to go back and have a look at it, remember some of the good stuff. I mean, some of the documentary itself was put together with footage they could find from anywhere. So there was footage there was obviously archival stuff, but then they've gone back to home video stuff where people was recording this on their own video records at home. And they've got that footage and put it onto this release itself. So it is really good, nostalgic fun. So for any of you UK guys out there that's my kind of age, and you remember Tiz was, then go pick this up. It's shitloads of fun.
Yeah, Gizmo's online now ordering it. I see Gizmo's face. He just ordered the whole fucking box set.
Gizmo was in buy mode.
I already have it. That's the one furry thing I've showed you all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that what it was?
Oh, shit. Well, I've been bugging Tony all the time about bringing up some European shit, and now I'm going with American one. So it's, yeah.
Damn right.
At least he started his career in England, so that counts for something. I took this, and
yeah, cool.
I'm not the biggest fan. I know all of you are, but I'm not the biggest fan of documentaries of horror films. Mostly because I feel when I watch them that we know most of the stuff from before, so it's mostly just because of nostalgia I get appreciation out of them. And of course I get a little bit of appreciation out of it, but it's not like the biggest. But this one I thought was cool because the whole movie is about conspiracy theory, isn't that right? Conspiracy.
It's a big conspiracy type.
Yeah.
And I do think it goes some really dark roads here with pedophilia or gay or something like they have captured something from the film that I felt. I don't think Kubrick was actually thinking of that. That's my opinion. But I think it's really fun to see how deep this movie goes into stuff that you never thought about when you watched The Shining. And also the teddy bear in that film. It's kind of freaky. But I do think the movie is well crafted. I think it's pretty long, actually, but it doesn't feel long when you watch it. It's 100 minutes, yeah. So it's okay running time for a doc, but it feels pretty short when you see it. Yeah, and I just want to say that this documentary is also directed by the same dude who did The Nightmare, about sleep paralysis, or how you say sleep, when you are awake.
Paralysis?
Paralysis, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Sleep
that I also thought was interesting in a way. So, yeah, I highly recommend this for you to check out, but just remember it goes in pretty dark ways, this one, and yeah. So
yeah, there's a lot of different terms and all kinds of weird shit with that. They go really deep into that, the conspiracies with that movie.
Yeah, I didn't understand anything the first time I saw it, when they were suddenly talking about the moon landing, and then there was into the pedophile shit and everything, and then I was just like, what the
pedophile fuck? Ring and all this other crazy shit involved.
Yeah, it was all over the place. But but after you've seen it, you understand why he did it, the director. So it's a fun watch.
I don't know if you understand it. I mean, you may understand it, but I saw the fucking thing and I'm just going, all right, man, this is too far. You've gone too far. You've derailed at a certain point.
Yeah, but I think what he tried to do, in my opinion, is that he tried to go 4 different ways in the conspiracy theory kind of thing. And I don't believe in the stuff he was telling, but I did understand what he was saying, because he showed really good, the paper that Jack is reading in the hotel and everything like that. And when he goes into stuff like that, then it gets interesting, because you're thinking, what the fuck did Kubrick choose that, or Nicholson? So that's interesting.
Yeah, there's no accidents with Stanley Kubrick. You know, it was all very planned.
Or
that
is it?
documentary was on my list to watch, and I'm glad I didn't watch because you just fucking stole it. But I still need to check that out. But
there was a nice edition with a side loading slip on Amazon for like $22 or something like that.
Yeah, I never even heard of that one, man. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean,
It's
yeah,
the
if
deepest
you
you can
want,
go
if you
into
want
The
a
Shining.
good, yeah, if you want a good quality Blu-ray of it that's cheap, 101 Films. 101 Films put a nice edition out of that. You can get it for next to nothing.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
This is a DVD. I only have the DVD.
All right, number 5, 2008. Michael Lives, The Making of Halloween. It's a documentary.
Talking about horror docs.
Yeah, it's a documentary inside this release. It is on this disc at the top here. Great little release. You can get this cheap, I think $20, but the documentary is on YouTube. Like I said, Rob Zombie, 258 minutes. So almost 4.5 hours. Goes over everything from pre-production, reshoots, the concept, storyboarding, the whole nine, the entire production. So there's really not a whole lot to say about it. It's going to be really short, but I really enjoyed it. You really get to see how hard Rob Zombie worked on this thing, and how serious he took it. And, you know, it came out totally Rob Zombie. Some people hate it. Some people love it. I loved it.
I love it.
But like I said, it's a production documentary, a making of documentary. There are little side interviews and stuff throughout it, but it's really cool to see how they set up the shots and everything like that. So, like I said, short and sweet on this one. It's not tons and tons of substance to it, but there is substance to it. Little side interviews and all that stuff. I just found it fascinating. I watched the whole 4-hour thing, one clip. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy the movie, and it makes me appreciate the movie even more after seeing all that went into it. So check this one out, man, for sure.
I have that release. Never opened it because I have so many other releases of the Halloween movies. So I kind of bought that one just for collector's reasons. I didn't even know that was fucking in there. So now I'm gonna have to crack it open and watch that because I'm a huge fan of Rob Zombie. I'm a huge fan of Rob Zombie's
I am too.
Halloween, and I think the man's a fucking genius personally. So
you're not allowed to be a fan of him, Vinicio.
Huh?
You're not allowed to be a fan of him. That's the rules these days. You know how
it's not cool to be a fan of Rob Zombie anymore.
You're not allowed to like him.
I actually bought that release for the documentary, but I didn't have time to watch it.
I didn't even know.
But,
I was just like, man, I love this movie, and there's a cool edition. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, Johnny is the one. I wanted to see the documentary forever, and Johnny is the one who told me that this is the release that has the documentary on it. So I went ahead and bought it. I already have another copy of it. I bought it just for the documentary.
Wow.
Like,
it's the badass looking still.
Who released it?
It's Lionsgate, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I've never seen that release before.
Yeah.
Is it region B or region A?
No, this is the front. You've probably seen this front. That's the back I keep showing.
No, I never seen the front either.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's just a Lionsgate steelbook.
Yeah, you can find it for dirt cheap over here in America.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
$10-$20, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a steelbook also.
Yeah. All right, so mine are actually a little bit more unorthodox. I'm the type of person when it comes to documentaries. I think I spoke about this last time here. I like seeing what humans are capable of doing, and sometimes what humans are capable of doing without conscience or care of the repercussions that happen after that. So it's very fascinating to me to see sometimes some of this wild, crazy shit that people do and not give a shit about. So my first one here is going to be a documentary called Hood to Hood. This one, it's basically one guy that he is a hood guy and goes to different places throughout all America and ends up finding people that are somehow okay with him filming what they're doing from day to day. And you see these guys out in a lot of this actually is in Palm Beach, Florida also. And like these guys are standing out there in the middle of the road with fucking AKs, just spraying it in the air, fucking jumping people, getting shot, shooting people, selling drugs, all kinds of stuff. And it says updates on like what happened to a lot of people. Like there's one in here where they go to Vallejo, California, and and this guy is showing basically this trap house that he lives in, and showing these safes, pulling out all this money and blah blah blah, and showing him break down coke and turn it into crack and everything like that. And then next clip it says, "Oh, this person was arrested and is now facing blah 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 time." Another one they show this person, like they showed him, he's talking blah blah, saying what he's doing, and then it says R.I.P. Died on this time. It's like, and it happened to a lot of these guys, man. And that's what kind of amazes me with these documentaries too. It's like, how are you that stupid to want to be on film that's going to release this shit? And again, it's just the fact that they're just like, they don't give a fuck what happens. You know, they're almost, and a lot of them too, when they start interviewing them, are talking about, you know, I'm here for the money right now. I don't care if I die. I don't care if this person dies. I'm just here looking for the money and trying to survive. And it's just like, it just amazes me that you could give that much less about your life. You know, it's like so many people have things to live for, and these guys don't have anything to live for. And even if they did, they don't give a fuck if they did. And so it's very interesting to see that kind of mentality of this stuff. So yes, it's going to be hood to hood.
When is it shot, Vinicio? Is it 90s or now?
Say that again?
When is it made? Is it 90s?
This was made in 2005.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's old school, like 90s, 2000.
Yeah.
You selling merch now, Benicio? I saw the hat.
Oh yeah, no, I had it made, man. It's funny, the place that I had it made,
Oh, that's
too, I
badass.
wanted to put the
Cool.
YouTube. I wanted to
That's
put a
cool.
YouTube logo on it, but they said because of copyright they couldn't do it. So I ordered a patch that I'm gonna put on my hat to just support the YouTube channel. You know,
That's cool.
You need to have more made.
Nice, man.
They'll sell.
Yeah, we'll see. I need more followers first, man. I'm still just a little guy.
I just have to
Oh,
say,
man.
when you took up the film, you have a price tag on the.
It's
I
just-
thought first you said
It's
No,
just-
no,
He means
not-
on
the price
he means
tag
on
was there.
your DVD.
No, that,
on DVD. It's
Oh, yeah.
it looked like
Yeah.
it said "hood to homo."
You see where that's at? That's at Rasputin. We were talking about it.
Yeah, that's what
that's a whole different documentary. Whole
Yeah.
different-
no shit.
All right, guys, I did not come prepared for this. I'm gonna go let you know right now. All 5 of mine, I have no physical releases of these, so I tried to pull it up on my phone here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's the decline of Western civilization part 2, the metal years. I was a big 80s kid, and the hair metal, the hard rock, whatever of the 80s, that's what I grew up on. Back in the day when my hometown actually got the big concerts, it's hard to find an 80s hair band that I have not seen in concert back in the day. This documentary really goes into a deep dive of that time. They interview a lot of the groupies back then, a lot of the band members. You got the big ones. You got Aerosmith. You got Poison. There's 10 or 20 on there, and it really goes to a deep dive of the mentality back then, how everything was over in Hollywood on the whiskey, all these big clubs where all these bands got started, and it really has some really interesting interviews with some of the groupies back then. And I was fascinated. That's what I grew up on. I started watching this documentary. I was online just trying to find some documentaries to kind of watch to get ready for the stream. Ran across this one here, and it kind of blew me away. It was really done very well. And this says part 2. I'm not real sure what part 1 was. I didn't see that one on there. But the decline of Western civilization part 2, the metal years. If you're a fan of any of that music back then, this is one definitely to watch. Again, there's what that's what it looks like. And this thing came out probably. I don't think I wrote down the year it came out. I want to say it came out like 10 years ago. But it was a good time. If you're a fan of that music, man, you do learn a lot about these bands. Bands go into the drug habits, the rehabs, the Ozzy Osbourne's on there. You got Ozzy Osbourne being interviewed while he's fucking making breakfast. He's sitting there scrambling eggs. Looks like he's been on a 5-day bender, you know. And Ozzy's the man back in the day. He's the man. I love Ozzy Osbourne. I still do. And but he said they're making bacon and eggs and shit, talking about all the fucking drugs he did. You got Steven Tyler from fucking Aerosmith talking about all the cocaine he did back in the day.
I love it.
It's just interesting as hell to me, man. Like I said, these were the guys I grew up on, man. I still love them to this day, and it was a really fun documentary. So I had to put that on my list
for sure. I'm a huge fan of Aerosmith. I'm a huge fan of Ozzy. All those guys, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It was a good time. So I would like to try to find the physical on that. But like I said, this year I pretty much did all my research on Netflix and Pluto and Tubi and shit like that. So I don't have any of these physicals.
Where did you watch that one again?
That one there was on. I think I watched that one on Tubi.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Cool. I love
Tubi's a great source for documentaries, man. There's tons of them on there.
Yeah, I mean, they got tons of them on there.
It's a great source for everything, man.
Yeah.
Low budget horror movies, indie horror movies, documentaries, everything is there. It's crazy. You just have to watch commercials, but I'm cool with it.
Even the commercials ain't bad though. I mean, like that documentary probably showed commercials 3 times.
Yeah,
it wasn't that bad.
Yep.
Alan, what are those
All right.
crazy eyes you have in the background? On the right side, the right shoulder. I never seen it before.
Over my
Are
right
you
shoulder.
talking about he's talking about your potato head of Vader.
Okay.
Oh,
I just
yeah,
saw
that's
those
my
eyes.
my Darth Vader. That's my Darth Vader. So don't fuck with Darth Vader. He's keeping an eye on things. All right, let's see what's going on out there in the chat. Let's get caught up on that. Give me 1 second. I think that's where we left off. What's going on, Chubbs?
What's up?
Hang on.
Teresa still hate everybody. Dirk says, "What in the bloody hell is that, Tony?"
Buy it.
Yeah, you've got to understand the culture of British TV. That's the only way you can understand it. It's especially 70s and 80s British TV. It's...
Right. I want to say, hey, the Chubbs. It's Tizwaz, Dirk, of course. Come on, Dirk, get it together, man. Crusher's Movies and Games. Hello, everyone.
Crusher.
What's going on? Oh, yeah, right. I forgot about that, Holland. Yeah, we got 19 people watching, y'all. Not bad. Dirk says, hell yeah, kids getting beat up sounds like great British family fun.
Everybody was waiting for me, Pops.
There you go. That's what it was. America. Yeah, America. It says, room 237, did Dirk put you up to this gizmo? How much did he pay you? Yeah, Dirk said that 237 doc is interesting, but a lot of it is imagination is going wild as fuck. What's going on, Caprice?
Caprice.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Appreciate you being here. You still haven't seen that, Brad. There's Dirt. Everybody still saying hey to everybody. Chubb says, I don't know if we're supposed to mention our favorite docs, but one of mine is Cocaine Cowboys.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a good one.
Always looking for recommendations.
Yeah.
Going forever. What's going on, Chuck? What's up, guys? We'll catch the replay. I'm doing the family thing today. Cheers, all. Yeah, we're doing ours tomorrow.
Yep.
What's going on, Samantha?
There she is. What's up, Sammy?
All right. Anthony said, IFC Midnight put out Room 237.
Yeah, I don't know which release it is, but if you just search Amazon, there's a nice one with a slip box and the whole nine. It's like $20.
Yeah, you can watch that on streaming as well. I think I've seen it on one of the free ones. It's out there somewhere. But it is available on streaming if you want to check it out. Or said Benicio never put that one. Benicio never seen that one either.
Yeah, most people haven't.
Samantha saying hey to Benicio there.
Benicio fan.
SBC, what's going on? Everybody still saying hey. Capri says, love that hat, Ben. I want one. Yeah, man, throw them out there. Bet you sell some. Yeah, send us hats, Benny. Yeah, we'll be doing a live giveaway later. No pressure, man. All right. Dirk says, solid pick, Pops. Metal will never die. Love that shit, brother. Remember, Paul Stanley was on there, too. What's funny, Paul Stanley was laying in fucking bed. He had 4 whores laying around him. All in, like, they're just all laying around. It's being shot from the top. As he's laying in the bed, girls just rubbing all over him. He's doing his interview. It's pretty funny. Yeah.
That's the only
Paul Stanley got more fucking ass than a toilet seat back in the day.
Yeah, that's the only straight man on the planet that has a lisp that strong. He had a lisp so strong, like you would be sure he was gay. but he was apparently just a gigantic slayer of broads.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
There's ones like that, man. Same thing with Prince. I mean, if you look and heard Prince, you would think that he was gay, but that guy was a ladies' man to the fullest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read something somewhere. The Prince is the only guy that can put on high heels and lipstick and take your woman.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Wild Wrangler said Rob Zombie was going to remake Motel Hell, and The Blob never happened early 2000s.
Man,
I'm a
would
big
be
Rob Zombie
cool,
fan,
dude.
man. I don't
That
care.
would
I
be
love the
nice.
Halloween movies. I don't give a shit. I like that.
It's really sad because it's obvious that he's not going to get any money anymore. You know, it's just too many flops in a row, and just it's not going to happen anymore.
It's fucked up though, man, because his first few were just so iconic, man, and they're so like masterpieces to me. Like it's fucked up that they won't give him another chance. You know.
You know, there's a lot of people that talk a ton of shit about Rob Zombie that are all holding up that fucking brand new 20th anniversary House of a Thousand Corpses release.
Yeah.
That were just talking tons of shit about what a piece of shit Rob Zombie is and how his movies suck. It's like, well, you're still buying them though.
Exactly. House of a Thousand Corpses is a masterpiece.
I always wish Rob Zombie did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake and also Maniac. That would have been really fun to see
He
him
would do
do.
amazing with both those. He would do amazing.
Well, it's like a lot of people don't know this, man, but he had like basically a blank check for House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
Like, we watch his interviews. He's like, "You want to give me how much?"
Yeah.
He says the ending of House of a Thousand Corpses cost more than 3 of his movies combined.
He shot
the
it
ending.
twice also.
Yeah.
He sent it to them and they said, "Oh, we can't do this ending." So then they gave him more money to reshoot the whole ending again. And then they watched and said, "No, we can't release this." And then fucking later on, 3 years later, then fucking Lionsgate picked it up. And then 5 years later after that, Universal came out with the haunted house of his fucking movie. Like, "Oh, sorry, we did have faith in you now, you dumbasses." Fucking Universal.
So it's just like those movies, they cost money, and you know he has no budget. Suddenly, it's like, you know, it's obviously going to drive it down. You know.
Yep.
Well, you should think that the Rob Zombie has the money enough himself because he is a big musician as well. He should make money.
Yeah, I'm sure he just went, well, listen, I've given you good movies before for this kind of budget. Give me the same budget again, and I'll give you another good movie. I'm sure he's just thinking it that way. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I agree.
I haven't seen the Monsters yet, but most of what I did.
Yeah, fuck the Monsters. I'll never see that. I almost got back through the trailer.
The Monsters, man, it's visually it looks good. But the comedy and the story just didn't hit for me. But the visuals are straight Rob Zombie. They look really cool to watch. But is it a good movie? No.
Yeah. I mean, the way it's filmed is really weird as well. I mean, it looks like it's been filmed off an iPhone. It's like ultra clear, ultra perfect. Everything's in camera. Nothing moves around camera. It's just really odd the way it's filmed.
The colors are so vivid too. It's so
it pops. Yeah.
All right, Samantha says Vader is life. Yeah, big Star Wars fan. Go back and watch some of my early videos. My background before I got the shelf built, I had the 3 original Star Wars movies, big posters back there. I hate taking those down.
She's a huge fan. I'm sure she'll check that out.
All right, 100. What's going on, guys?
He's a fan.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Hey,
Anthony says, hit that like button for Pops. I appreciate it, Anthony. DarthFuckingVader.com. There you go. It's our official website. Craig, what's going on, Craig? Check out Bigger, Stronger, Faster documentary about steroid use in America.
I've seen that one. That's a good one, actually.
Good one.
Yeah, this man that says talk about House of a Thousand Corpses. I watched Chuck Gore forever. I watched his unboxing of that, man. Mine still ain't come in yet. Thought it was coming in today. That damn box set for that box for House of a Thousand Corpses looks badass, man.
Dude,
I had that release.
I had to message Chuck. I was like, dude, I'm literally trying not to buy the same movie I own ever again. And it's like, I said, damn it, dude, you sold me. Now I have to go out and fucking buy the damn thing. That was like part of my New Year's resolution. I'm no longer buying the same movie if I own it again. And then that fucking guy posts that and I'm like, shit, I have to buy it now.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a whole disc of bonus features, like 4 hours or something.
And it has the original title screen from the DVD.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I never order the same movie over and over again.
Put that back.
He's got to show that shit once a stream.
What goes up? Especially with the moment. Everyone's got a King Terrible.
Yeah. There's people are buying it. That Vinegar Syndrome 4K. Everybody's buying it. People are talking shit, but they're still buying it. Like I'm not buying the thing.
Let me get 20 seconds here, please. The reason, if you like Showgirls, the reason why you should upgrade it is one of the first films actually that should get an upgrade is Showgirls. If you think about the cinematography in that film, it's fucking the best shot film Paul Verhoeven has ever done. It's so beautiful shot. So that's the reason why.
Yeah, but you can't take away from the fucking the bad storyline and the bad acting. Regardless of how it's filmed, it's still a.
I don't want to argue. Come on.
Only cinematography, no story, just cinematography.
I wish we were all in the same place. We could just jump Gizmo, hold him down, and give him a lobotomy with a car battery. Before we forget that goddamn movie.
You just want to see me strip like her.
Really? Sorry, I was talking to my kids. My bad.
There you go. Craig says Super Size Me is a great documentary where the guy eats McDonald's for 3 meals a day for 30 days. Yeah, I almost put that in my list, but I thought we mentioned that one last time. Did that one get pulled last time?
I don't think so.
I think it was an honorable mention. I think. I don't
honorable
think it got
mention,
pulled,
probably. Yeah.
It's a
it
good
a fun
documentary.
It is good.
He's sick.
It is.
He made a sequel called Super Size Me 2. That's even better than the first. It's about he opens his own restaurant. It's really good.
There's one too, where a guy that doesn't smoke weed smokes weed every day, also to see the effects of that.
Yeah. Okay.
I know a lot of people that can make that documentary right now.
No, but these are people that originally smoked. So they're not a smoker, but they're starting to see the effects on how it goes throughout the 30 days.
Okay. See them deteriorate.
I mean,
the job performance go down.
Yeah.
By day 12, they're eating McDonald's every meal. And a lot of Doritos. Man that says he thinks Spartan. Dirk says the Rob Zombie's Halloween sucks in my opinion. Always will, but I love about half of his filmography.
I love that. I love part 2.
I love it. First time I watched it, I love it every time I rewatch it, man. I don't know. I do.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, Craig says Pumping Iron is another classic.
Yep.
Documents the 1975 Mr. Olympia competition and follows the training of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno.
Yep. That's the one where it says that every time I go into a gym, it's like coming.
Yeah.
Like coming.
You come for 5 seconds. I got the pump. I come all day.
Yeah.
You gotta love Arnold.
At home, I come in the gym.
I come at the gym. I come when I'm home.
Yeah. I come at home. I come in the gym. You get the pump.
Man that says he thinks smart when he's allowed. Maybe talk about Rob Zombie, I think. Maybe.
Rob Zombie's a genius.
Well, Chubb says Arnold was a savage in Pumping Iron, playing mind games with Lou Ferrigno the whole documentary.
Nope.
Man that says Star Wars, like I said, my godfather beat George Lucas up at the bus stop. My uncle was in American Graffiti. Yeah, I've heard that story before, Samantha.
Yep.
American Graffiti's getting a 4K, I just seen.
Yep, that's about our town. Modesto.
Is that a good film? Or?
It's okay.
It's a classic. I mean, I haven't seen it forever, but it's considered a classic.
That's about my
Crusher
town.
says, that's cool, man. I watched it twice. It's been a while. Seen it before. Crusher said, someone got to say Canon Films documentary and Go-Go Boys documentary. Yep.
I don't have it on the list, but
the Go-Go Boys documentary is okay, but it's really from the perspective Malak and Gohan, because it's filtered to those two guys. The best one to watch if you want to watch a Canon documentary is Electric Boogaloo, because that was done by the fans. That's more of a real take on the whole Canon story, where the Go-Go Boys is really fucking sugar-coated.
It's like when somebody writes their own biography.
Fuck you, Dirk.
Dirk says, "Fuck showgirls, Gizmo." All capital letters, screaming that shit.
You know how to make me angry.
100 says, "Speaking of showgirls, I just watched You Don't Naomi. It's a documentary about showgirls." There we go. 100 says, "Hell yeah, Crusher, the Go-Go Boys is awesome."
Gizmo's in buy mode now for that showgirl.
I don't care anymore. Come on, fuck.
So we are caught up in the chat, guys. We'll move on to round 4 here. So Anthony, I can't even imagine what you're going to pull next after that other shit you just pulled. So let's see what other kind of UK greatness you got over there.
So this next title is by the same company that I looked at the last one. It's by Network. It's going to be no surprise to you. This title that I'm going to pull, and it's a documentary that was done by Tom Hanks. It was produced by Tom Hanks, and it is called The 80s. This is what you've got to realize is, as me being British, as me being English, and me being born the time I was born, so the mid-70s, and being brought up through the 70s in the 80s. This may seem weird to say no, but America was a huge, huge influence on what was going on in the UK. So American pop culture was slowly sort of integrating itself into the whole British Isles massively. So me as a kid growing up all through the 80s, I experienced everything that I was watching on TV, everything that I was getting, whether it was breakfast cereal, whether it was TV shows, whether it was films, no matter what it was a whole American experience. We was being force-fed it like chumps, just lapping it. And the 80s, by Network, sort of breaks down the sort of key major points of the sort of the whole as a movement through the pivotal points of what was going on in the United States at that time and how it influenced every other part of the world, basically. So on here you've got a thing that's called Raised on Television. So that was all changing of the law that was put in place where they couldn't direct advertise to kids at certain times of the day. When that law was pulled by Reagan and changed, that changed the whole look on everything. It talks about the whole era and TV brought down the barriers of mainstream pop culture. It talked about other things as well, but it's sort of like capitalism and the greed of what was going on in the American times. But as being a Brit and seeing this stuff firsthand happen, this is really entertaining. And this takes you back to everything that was going on at that particular time. Now, looking as a Brit now to how the United States influences the UK, you don't see it as much. It's just there. It's intertwined. But back in the 70s and the 80s, fucking man, it was unreal. And it's hard to understand that if you don't come from the UK, how much everything that we did, we saw, we ate, the whole fucking thing was being influenced by the US. And this sort of breaks it down and sort of tells you why and how that came to be. So if you're from the UK and you can pick these titles up and you can get them really cheap, off their own website, you can get them from a HMV or whatever. Check this one out, the 80s. It's really good.
I haven't heard about it. Check it out.
Yeah, that was my generation, man. No doubt.
Yeah, I know it may sound a bit stupid, you know what I mean, for you guys that are in the US, you know what I mean, especially the same age as me, you know what I mean, that was just the thing that was happening at that time for you guys. But we was integrating that US culture into British culture so fast and so quick that you could just constantly see it happening virtually on a daily basis. It was unreal, really.
I'm sure the same thing happened here with the music, back then. A lot of musicians, come from the UK over here. And it's like, the punk thing and all that stuff. So I'm sure it's back and forth.
Big time. I was actually watching a documentary that they have cholos in Japan, literally Japanese cholos. And I guess Chicano culture is huge in Japan. So, it's crazy how things like that cross over from one to another. You know. Sorry to cut you off, brother.
That'd be interesting.
Back to the documentary, man. I saw that movie also.
Okay.
And now something weird.
I think Tony is beating me to the punch here. Holland is going to love this because he loves when I say Eureka. Eureka? Eureka? Eureka. Okay.
Eureka.
Eureka. This is a Eureka release, and the first time I saw this, I didn't like it that much, but this was the only movie I actually got to rewatch before this stream. So as you know now, I haven't prepared well for this one. I've been working a lot lately, but yeah, I had to take this because I really digged it. It's Hitler's Hollywood.
All right, kick him out of the street.
And it's but it's a really good film. I really recommend it to everyone. It's not about the propaganda stuff that Nazi Germany did through the news and stuff like that. This is through their films from, I would say, from 37, 38 to during the war. But what's really good about it is that they go into a lot of German films that I bet most people out there haven't heard about at all, because they have been like hidden, because most of these films are propaganda films without actually expressing that in a way. But they use them to calm down the people, because every German film during that time period was like happy times. So while they were killing like millions of people just outside the border, they showed like romance films and stuff that to the audience in Germany. And it's a really fun twist in a way for a documentary, I think, because the first thing I thought when I put this in the player, I thought I was going to get like lesson about how the German propaganda movement was and everything. And I think that's boring, but this was really interesting. And there's a fun fact that I didn't know at all, and the movie doesn't go into that, but I had to look it up afterwards, that Ingrid Bergman, she acted in one German propaganda film, and when she understood what she was part of, she got a hell away from Germany, and then she went to America and she did Casablanca and all that shit, you know. So, but she got famous through a German propaganda film, and I think that's what I can say about it. This release is also great. You get 2 other shorter documentaries about how the German film industry, because that's also another thing. The Germans were early out. I think they were the biggest in the world of countries coming with, how you say this, like with the biggest kind of studio films, if you like, especially in horror and stuff like that during the 20s and the beginning of 30s also, before America really kicked off. And the fun thing is that it's just like when the war started, or right before the war started, they just stopped making good films, and it was only this kind of romantic shit films. So I found this probably one of the most important films for German to learn about German cinema during that period of time. And you also have Udo Kier doing the narration, if you choose.
That's worth it alone. If anybody,
it's really fun.
Wow.
Accent, he is the strongest accent.
And he sounds like, a serial killer talking through the entire film. So it's really cool.
That kind of me right there.
I highly recommend it if you want to learn.
Udo Kier narrating. He should read books on tape. He should do everything. I mean, it's this horribly strong accent that he's not been able to shake.
Gizmo just pulled Hitler Hollywood. He used the term "fun fact," and it's really fun. And I just like to say that the thoughts and beliefs of the participants of the stream are not the thoughts and beliefs of Potts Movie Dungeon. Little disclaimer there.
There's a stream that doesn't mention Hitler or the fucking necromantic director.
Now I just want to hear Pop say, Jörg Butgareit.
Hitler, showgirls, these are the type of things that you're going to hear.
Or his furry slipcover.
And this one.
I've seen you show that before. Where did you get that from? Because that's a UK show.
Oh, look now the answers. I got it for free when I bought something else.
Right. Well, that's a UK TV show.
I haven't seen it.
A comedy show in the UK.
He puts that slip on other stuff.
The
He
guy,
just
the
has it
guy
in him.
does. The whole concept of the show is fucking weird, but
What the fuck?
yeah, a burst tail.
Is this on the backside?
A burst tail. It's
Take it out of the slipcover before.
Looks like fucking Austin Powers at a furry convention. You know,
That's exactly to the T what it looks like.
it's really weird, right? Because the whole concept of it is that the body of it is a puppet, but the head is a guy's real head. So the body moves independently of his face. It's fucking weird. But he sat on the couch and did interviews with like real fucking movie stars and pop stars, just bizarre shit. Really bizarre
hold
shit.
that thing up again. Hold that thing up again, Gizmo. You're telling me that's weird? It's a weird show? Like, it's really bizarre.
It's the best slip ever.
The guy's name is Lee Francis. But Lee Francis did the whole lot of different characters. He did a character called Avid Miriam. He did that character, the Burr. He did loads of different characters.
I just want to say before you take me off.
Single-handedly. Go.
I just want to say I didn't pick this one. I picked this one.
That's a fun double feature watch right there.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody show that slip before. That's great.
Well,
All right, Brad, what you got?
Something a little more sensical here. Number 4, it's a movie called Soaked in Bleach. I don't know if anybody's seen this one before. This is a great documentary. This is what is this flag here, Gizmo?
Sweden.
This is a Swedish release.
Swedish.
I don't think there's an American release of this. I haven't opened this one yet. I haven't checked this one out, but I've streamed it. You can stream it. I think it's on Netflix. I streamed it illegally for this stream. I don't have my Region B player with me, so I wasn't able to watch the disc, so I can't vouch for this release. It may or may not have subtitles. It may be in the right language. I don't know, but this was the only release I could find of it, and I definitely wanted to have it. It's a really interesting documentary. It's a 2015 Benjamin Statler documentary. It documents the final days of Kurt Cobain, and it's kind of half documentary, half docudrama.
Is it the animation one? Or
no, they have
that one.
skits. They have real interviews with the real people, and then they have little skits that kind of show what was happening with actors that look like the real people. But it's really fascinating. This is the kind of documentary that I love. It was one of those murder docs, and it really sucks you into it. It's really well made. Like I said, it is a mystery. I don't want to spoil it at all, but man, if you haven't seen this out and you're a Nirvana fan at all, you really got to check this out. It's really interesting the way it plays out and how it works. And like I said, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It's a really, really strong documentary. And like I said, you will start this thing and you will finish it right. You will go right through it because it's like I said, it's the perfect kind of documentary. A good documentary to me is something you get sucked into, and this motherfucker will suck you right in. So definitely check this one out. Of all the ones I got to show, I think this is the one with the most broad appeal, and I think anybody would like this one. So yeah, Soaked in Bleach.
I only seen the one with the animation. Have you seen that one, Brad?
I haven't seen the one with the animation, but I mean, there's interesting stuff with that. Like Kurt Cobain was a tiny guy, really, really tiny, and like the logistics of putting that shotgun in his mouth, he would have to take his shoes and socks off and use his toe to fire it. He was found with the shoes on, and socks on. Like he had like triple the amount of heroin in his system that would have killed him. But somehow he blew his brains out. Like there's a lot of weird stuff in there. And like I said, it gets really, really interesting. I don't want to talk anymore about it. I don't want to spoil it at all, but definitely check that one out.
That's crazy. I always heard that he did have his shoes off and he used his toe.
Yeah, they got pictures of the body in the documentary. He's got his shoes and socks on.
Huh.
He was a tiny guy, like 5 foot tall. I mean, very small. And it's a full length hunting shotgun. To get it in his mouth and fire it, I mean, we had to use his foot, and so it's an interesting documentary.
I'm definitely gonna check that out. That's
Yeah, you can stream it. I believe it's on Netflix. Don't quote me on that. I was streamed it illegally, so
Yeah.
but I have seen it on Netflix before years ago,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Like I said, even the language on the back, most of this is in Swedish, so it doesn't really show if it has English subtitles or whatever. But the actors, they really got to look like
It'll
them.
be-
It's really well made.
Take it up,
Yeah.
Brad, and I can see it down. And it used to have the flag
Most
of the
of those Swedish
subtitle
releases
star on the right
are in
there, you
English.
see.
Well, so I think
Yeah.
the documentary is in English, but the text is in Swedish. And there's text that comes across the screen throughout, like, it's important to the story. So, like I said, stream it before you buy it. I don't know if this release will work for everybody. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, I don't want to pump this release and then open it and go, fuck, it's in the wrong language or whatever.
But I think it says on the subtitles on the right side, on the back there, you see different flags. And I think those are the different subtitles. It's Swedish.
Is that flags?
Isn't
okay.
it?
Okay. The flags are, I'm not seeing an American flag. It says
Okay. It's
texting. I don't see an American flag, but maybe one of these is a UK flag. So that could be English. I don't know.
I can't see it, so much light.
Yeah.
It's Norwegian there. Woo! I think.
There's
Swedish,
one-
Danish, Norwegian, and Finnish. Yeah, I think it's Finnish.
There may not be
Yeah,
English
no.
subtitles on it. If you don't have English subtitles, you really shouldn't watch this release because there's dialogue, there's text across the screen that really helps the story. So, like I said, I haven't checked this one out yet. I don't have my Region B player with me, so I can't tell you if this is but this was the only physical release I could find of it. So, stream it.
Yeah. And Kurt Cobain was a big deal back in the day. I kind of have a love-hate because, like I just said earlier, I was big into the 80s hair metal, all the rock from the 80s. And with Kurt Cobain, when they came out, man, it changed everything. And they got more into the Seattle grunge and all that kind of shit. It killed all my guys. That shit went away quick. 80s. So and I had a younger brother-in-law at the time that loved that shit. And we'd argue all the time about which was better and that kind of shit. I ended up loving all that shit. But I was fighting, kicking, and screaming.
It's because you were depressed.
Over, but
the 80s were over. You were depressed because the 80s were over, so you just started listening to his shit.
So
I hated that dude because all the girls in my
so
I hated that dude because all the girls
they
in my class
also
loved him.
I mean, they also single-handedly changed MTV overnight, really, as well as, you know what I mean? MTV hated them and loved them at the same time because they wouldn't conform to the norm. So MTV had to change to suit them, which is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, so my next one, it's kind of it's very similar to the last one. I promise this is my last hood documentary. But this one is more like local. This is basically a documentary of the Northern Hispanics in Northern California. And this is called Barrio to Barrio, which barrio is basically Spanish slang for hood or ghetto. And this is actually a documentary made by an acquaintance of mine. I don't want to say he's my friend because we don't call each other all the time, but I do talk to him from time to time and I know who he is. And it's also hosted by another one of my acquaintances, Tito B. He actually recently died from COVID. But this one, basically what it is that there's a lot of basically Hispanic real gang rappers around here. And it's basically shows an inner look of, everybody claims a different city. Some people claim this city, some people claim this city. And basically it's the main guy, which is Tito B. He's going to all these different cities. And basically they're giving them the layout of how everything works in their hood and everything else like that. And it's just very unique thing, and especially because it's right here that it's so crazy to see the parts of this. I mean, there's this little town about an hour south of here called Tulare and Lindsay. They're farm fucking nothing towns, and they go out there. It was just a fucking sea flood of fucking nothing but hundreds and thousands of Hispanic cholos just in all fucking red, just ready for whatever. It was just it's unbelievable the shit that you see, and it's unbelievable how deep some things are in certain areas, and California is just full of gangs and all different kinds of gangs, and it's insane to kind of see everybody kind of coming together, at least their own gang. But I mean, I pity anybody else that would came across this walking by. But it's just a very interesting thing, seeing all these people that some people just think of as rappers. They hear their albums, they hear their music videos, whichever it may be. But when they go to when you're seeing an in-depth thing of where they actually are, these are like rappers that don't just rap about this stuff. They're actually living it, opposed to a lot of the rappers that are on, the MTV and everything else like that. These are people that they won't put on there because they're actually talking or doing what they're talking about. So it's a very interesting documentary for me. I actually watch this one quite often. So yeah, Barrio to Barrio.
Nice, man.
Cool.
Is that also?
So I want to show you the difference between me and Benicio. All right, so I got me a hat. If I wear my shit like this, I like a fat drunk wino. He does. He looks cool as shit.
Snaps out of that, bro.
I mean, look, I look like a goofy bitch. But anyway, I got more of my hat here.
That's
My fucking tater head. But anyway, I had a buddy of mine make me some hats at work or whatever, and it looks like I could bought this at a truck stop.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Anyway. But my number 4 is going to be the Harrisville haunting. I really dig these fucking these people that go around looking for ghosts and shit like that. And this here was based on the actual house that they based the Conjuring movie on. And this documentary here, I would recommend it if you're into these haunted documentaries, haunted houses, ghost chasers, whatever you want to call them. As far as that goes, this is a pretty fun documentary. Now, I will let you know right now that by the time you get to the end of it, it's like, well, not really a lot of shit happened. But throughout the documentary, there's some scenes that gets really fucking creepy. These guys basically spend 48 hours in the actual Conjuring house. And you get to meet, they interview Carolyn Perrin, which is the lady that was in the Conjuring. She was played by Lily Taylor in the movie. She's the one that got bruised up. She was the mom in the movie. So they actually interview her throughout the documentary. But basically, this was directed by Matt Benton. You have 4 paranormal researchers and YouTubers document the paranormal claims of the Harrisville farmhouse, the inspiration for the well-known movie The Conjuring. And the first thing you see when it starts, it says, "This is not based on a true story. This is the true story." And like I said, it builds it up. There's a lot of creepy scenes in it, and there is some kind of weird shit that happens in it that's pretty interesting to watch. But by the time it's over with, it's like, well, it wasn't that much bang for your buck. But the documentary was fun to watch. I really like all this haunting shit. It's creepy as hell to me. I'm not saying I believe in all that shit, but part of me, it's like makes you wonder, makes you kind of scratch your head a little bit. Yeah. Some of the shit you see. But yeah, this was a good one. I'm a big fan of the Conjuring movies. And first off, you can't pay me enough money to spend the night in that fucking house for one night, much less 2 nights. I mean, they're down there. They're dark. They got just their little cameras. They're going down in the basement. It's creepy as fuck. And so yeah, like I said, it was fun for that aspect of it. Check it out. I think it's one that if you're into that kind of shit, I think y'all like this one. It was a pretty good one, so I enjoyed it.
I'm one of the weirdos though. I would go to those houses and I would love to spend the night at those things. I think that would be fucking awesome. But yeah, that sounds hella interesting, man. I love the Conjuring movies, and that sounds. It was
I watched a lot of these, man. This is what I really enjoyed. So it was a fun one, man. I would go, but I probably have to go in the daytime. I think once I ain't going down in that fucking basement at 3:00 in the morning by myself. Yeah. And it was kind of weird. They would go to different parts of the house. Each one of these guys supposedly had a different, like a different specialty. One was more science based, one that had more like theory. And they would go to different parts of the houses, and everybody could see and hear what they were doing, but they could only go off by themselves for like 16 minutes at a time. After like 15 or 16 minutes, they'd make them come back.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of things in the movie that was pretty fucked up. You see the rocking chair move and shit like that. Of course, you're sitting there saying they easily could have done that for effect. Yeah. But you have a guy that just kind of stands there. Also, he just falls over. Yeah. There was a couple of things they did that was pretty cool looking. But like I said, it was still cool to see the house and hear them talk about it and stuff like that. And also interviewing the real lady from the movie. That was pretty cool.
That is cool.
I dug it.
Definitely.
So that's my number 4. Let's get caught up with the chat here real fast, guys, and we'll move on to our 3rd pick. Still got 14 people watching. Not bad. I know the stream like this ain't going to bring the masses in, but I appreciate everybody being here. All right. Where did we leave off at? I think this is about it. Close enough. Samantha said, watch American Graffiti. Crazy Eights. Dirk says, "Look solid, Tony. America, fuck yeah."
Merc.
Yep. Samantha said, "No one pulled Train Spotting." Adrian James, what's going on? So hey to everybody.
Yo, Adrian.
What's up, Adrian?
Yo, Adrian. Yeah, Samantha says, "Ask Gizmo." All right. Dirk says, "Oh yeah, USA getting a ton of love." America, fuck yeah. Man, this is Put Rock is
It
live.
must be Hitler's Hollywood.
Dirk said, "Holy shit to Gizmo." Yeah. We seem to say holy shit to Gizmo about 3 times a stream. You know?
Every stream.
Man, this is wow, that's very interesting. A double feature with SS Experiment Camp. Great movie night, Gizmo. Joe says, "Making a murderer was pretty crazy, and the town it happened in is 5 minutes from where I live."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Great
always, it always adds an extra layer of creepiness with something close by, for sure.
That was like kind of the beginning of the Netflix murder doc craze, Making a Murderer. And then they started just pumping them out, and they've all been good somehow.
Yeah. Samantha says, "Most killers are nearby my city." So,
Yep.
Bob's Blu-ray. What's going on, Bob?
Bob,
Hey, Brad. How you doing, buddy? How's things been?
I forgot he's only talking.
Turk says, "Rick Moranis, Fuzzy Slip." What's up, Benicio, Pops, Gizmo, and everyone? What's going on, Bob? Yeah, Samantha says, "I always lock up."
Got it.
And hey to Bob. Looks like an Ewok. Yeah. It's like you need to get that damn slipcover shave.
There you go.
Oh.
There you go. Somebody else knows what it is as well as.
I can just see him.
That's the bird from Bo Selector.
I can just see him hand washing it and then hang drying it, in his laundry room.
Right. Nighttime.
It doesn't fit in shelves. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't fit in the shelves. It goes to bed with you every night. You fucking freak.
Yeah, Jason Morby says soaked in bleach is good. Samantha's a fan of it.
Yeah.
Dirk says Kurt Cobain doc, fuck yeah, need to check it out.
Too.
Wearing a Nirvana sweater right now. Nice.
Nice.
Jason says definitely shows how suspect Courtney Love was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, she's a
he's
weird
he
one too.
wasn't the suicide type, and like he drove Volvos and stuff like the Volvo is known for being a safe car.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he picked it, because it was supposedly the world's the safest car to drive. Like he was just not a suicide type.
Yeah.
So it was an odd situation.
That's fucked up too, if that's true, because most of the world thinks he committed suicide. So that's fucked up. He really didn't.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you got to watch that documentary, man. It's really interesting.
For sure.
Yeah, Dirk says Courtney Love was suspect as fuck. He was tiny but huge personality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
Yeah, Samantha says it wasn't him.
Yeah, Courtney Love inherited a music library worth north of $1 billion.
Wow.
When he died. So
Yeah. Makes you wonder.
Yep.
Dirk says, it's not illegal, it's free to air. All right. Jay says he had enough drugs in him to kill like 10 people also. It would have been very difficult to use a gun that large, if not impossible.
Well, lifelong drug user, knows heroin in and out. Why would you cook up that much heroin and shoot it into yourself? I mean, and then blow your brains out just to make sure. I don't know. It's a lot of strange stuff happening there.
Yeah, maybe not kill, but knock out. Dirk said Bleach is a solid album as well. Yeah, Kurt was a grunge beast. Yeah, man, he got all that shit started, man. Barrio. Translate. Am I saying that right? Barrio. Why Barrio?
Yeah, you could say that. It's barrio to barrio. Barrio y barrio.
See, even when he says shit, it sounds cooler to me. Jerk says, definitely got to check that one out, Benicio. Jay says, the influence shows all the way up here in Washington. Yep.
Oh, dang. Yep.
Yeah, too Laura, we live it. Yep. Agree. All right, I got a better one, Gami. I feel like I don't know what I'm reading there. All right. Dirk says, hell yeah, Pop sounds legit. Yeah, want to be scared? Dirk says, every town has a haunted type urban legend place. A big one here is a road, Juji Road, supposed to be where a slave was hung back in the day.
Damn. Yeah, we have the Winchester Mystery House now about an hour and a half away from here, too, in San Jose.
Mega Mike's here. What's going on, Mega Mike? Good evening, everyone. You are all the best. Appreciate it, man.
Fuck yeah.
Say hey to Mike. And I'm assuming Samantha is blowing that to Dirk and not, I mean, to Benicio and not me, but appreciate it.
Whenever you mix somebody's name up, it's always Dirk. Wait a minute, is it Dirk? Like it's got to be everybody.
Well, it's always Dirk. All right, let's move on to our third pick, y'all. More UK greatness. What you got?
Okay. Yeah. So I think we talked about this one the last time on the last stream that we did. I think it was an honourable mention. But it is 1999's Beyond the Mat. If you were a wrestling fan, if you were a wrestling fan of a certain era, certain age, this is a great documentary. 93 minutes long. It's really up close and personal look at the sort of wrestling franchises that were about at that time. So WWF before it was WWE, WCW, ECW, and then the independent stuff, APW. Basically, it looks at each individual. It looks at wrestlers that was wrestling for those franchises at that particular time. Basically, just interviews some of those wrestlers. So it goes through Terry Funk. Most of you guys, if you're into wrestling, you'll know who Terry Funk is. He was the godfather of hardcore wrestling. It sort of interviews him and then does sort of like an insight of his personal life, as well as it goes into a little bit of detail about Paul Heyman and Paul Heyman starting up ECW, where that started, how that ended up. Mick Foley's on here as well. It looks at Mick Foley's personal life and his wrestling life and how the two are completely different. And he tries to keep them separate, but they sort of clashing over itself. He seems a super nice guy, really family-oriented guy. But the second he gets in the ring, he's just got a different personality, different persona about him. They do a little bit of an interview with China, if you remember China, the Night Thunder of the world. She was an absolute phenomenon of women's wrestling. Fantastic. But the main one that the documentary sort of beds itself around is Jake the Snake Roberts, and the Jake the Snake Roberts sort of imploding on himself from the guy that he was in the early days of WWF. If you looked at Jake the Snake Roberts, he wasn't a big macho guy like most of the other guys that was in wrestling at that time, but he could talk the talk, and his ego was out of this world, was unreal. And most of the guys that you speak to of that kind of age who were wrestling at that time will tell you that there was no one like Jake the Snake Roberts for putting promos over, for the guy who could get the fans going, for a guy that wasn't physically able to do a lot of the stuff that the other guys were doing, and physically didn't look like most of the wrestlers. The gimmick that he had going, it wasn't a gimmick. It was Jake the Snake Roberts. You couldn't distinguish Jake the Snake the man from Jake the Snake the wrestler. It just sort of, he was Jake the Snake all the time. And in this, you sort of see he's sort of like spiral with his addiction with crack. His family life, which was a complete mess. His mother was raped at 13 years old. So his mother had given birth to him at 14 years old. His father was like in his 50s when he was born. He has this really weird life, really weird family. He's estranged from his own daughter. And he was like washed up at the back end of his career. At the end of this documentary, I mean, the guy's literally wrestling for crack. He's telling these promoters that he wants like a case of beer, somewhere to stay for the night, and crack. That is it. And he's just wrestling in fucking pigsties at the end. You know what I mean? It's a fucking shame to see how someone as great as he was just ended up just rotting away, basically. Vince McMahon says a little few things. I mean, the front of the documentary tries to tell you it was the documentary that Vince McMahon didn't want you to see. I mean, that's fucking nonsense, because Vince McMahon's in this all the way through. And it shows you the change from Vince McMahon, the sort of promoting side of Vince McMahon, to Vince McMahon, the wrestler, because he was struggling for heels. He couldn't find any bad guys. So he thought, well, who's more badder than I am? You know what I mean? So that's what he did himself. So Vince McMahon's in this a little bit. But if you're into wrestling and you're into sort of getting into the inside of some of these guys, I mean, Coco Beware's on here. If any of you guys remember Coco Beware, I mean, he's wrestling the like really low down independence at the end. It's amazing how some of the mighty guys that you remember in 80s, early 90s wrestlings are basically virtually homeless. Some of these guys now, they've just been dumped by the wayside. So if you're a wrestling fan and if you like sort of deep diving into stuff like this, then Beyond the Mat is definitely worth a look at.
Yeah, that's like the godfather of pro wrestling documentaries.
Yeah.
That's where they all started from that. You know, it's the darker side of the ring type of deal.
Yeah.
I've never been a huge fan of wrestling, but I do remember China's Landing Strip.
Yeah. The documentaries, like, it's not, you don't even have to be a wrestling fan, because it is the behind the scenes stuff is, to me, the only thing that's interesting about it.
Yeah.
I don't watch the in-ring stuff, but I can watch those documentaries no problem, because they are certain, it's a certain type of character behind the scenes to even live that life. I mean, they're on the road 360 days a year.
Yeah,
you know,
constantly.
it's a really bizarre lifestyle, and they're all fucked up and crazy. Every last one.
Yeah.
Of them.
Yeah.
And I hear fucking Terry Funk. I think Roadhouse. So I think Terry Funk's in Barber College now. You know, Terry Funk was great in Roadhouse.
Yeah, I mean,
what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Yeah. I mean, Terry Funk, I think, only retired when he was 60.
He retired the first time when he was 60. You know.
No.
Let's go.
All right, Gizmo. I think I'm ready for your next book.
Nazi on Ice, or whatever the fuck it is. Next.
Next pick is a bit boring, because I had it last time on my honorable mentions, but I couldn't take it out because I had a hard time making this list. It was so many titles. Well, this one is the most grossing film ever made, and the doc is about the most grossing film ever made, and I think it was 500 or 600 million it made, and it only cost like $30,000 to make, and you can probably bet what kind of genre it's in, and it was banned through I think half of the states and all of Europe. And it's the documentary about Deep Throat. This documentary was a shock when I saw it the first time, because I thought it was going to be, I love documentaries about porn, and it's like all of them are so trashy made, and it's like they never put money into actually creating something artful, if you like, or something new. But this one is really, really good, and you can really see that the director knows his shit. I think he was Oscar nominated for an earlier film, but I didn't look it up now. But you get really beautiful stock footage from the 60s and 70s, and that's the time period I love the most, from different places in America. I would think it's mostly from around Hollywood and Las Vegas and stuff like that, but it looks really amazing. And the movie it's about was, in my opinion, the movie that fucked up marriage forever, but made sexual pleasure better for both parties. So it's
Wouldn't it?
It's probably the most important movie ever made for females when it comes to sexual pleasure. But yeah, probably fucked up some marriage during. Dennis Hopper is doing the narrative in this one, and I've probably seen this film, I would say 10 times or something. I even took this. I had to choose one documentary for. We had like this course where everybody had to pick a documentary, and I took this one. And I didn't think that there was some 16 years old in the course, so that was a bad thing. We had to stop it halfway in because the doc is going in something really. It doesn't hold back, to say it straight out, but it doesn't feel nasty, to say it like that. It's more about showing so you understand how it was back then, and also the director doesn't take, doesn't take like side if porn are bad or good. It just tells it how it is or how it was. And that's something I really like about it too. There has been tons of films later with Linda Lowens, I think her name was, that stars in Deep Throat, and because she was later claiming that the guy who got her boyfriend who got her into doing this, forced her, and that's also a big part of this documentary. But they made movies about her also. I don't remember who. It's been some big names who has played her in those films. What more is it to say about this? I would at least I would say really watch it if you want to learn something about the 70s porn industry. And you got to remember, back in the 70s, the porn industry was bigger than the mainstream industry of films. It was like the opposite side of Hollywood. So they were making feature that was selling better than the biggest Hollywood movies back then. And yeah, yep. I'm just happy they did a really a really good documentary about this for one time. It's only been like those trashy ones, and yeah. So I just hope they never do an Animal Farm documentary, because I will not watch that. If you heard about Animal Farm, stay far away from that.
I don't know how they let you. I don't know how they let you around children.
They don't.
That's the real mistake, because the people that let you around those kids, they should have known what you were going to do, what you were going to show.
Yeah, that's
watch
that's awesome, Gizmo.
Okay,
I'm gonna watch it. It's a really good documentary, for fuck's sake.
This one is not about porno. This one isn't about porno or Hitler or
boring. We end the stream now.
Yeah, this is some boring crap. 2011. I mentioned it last stream. I watched it again. I loved it. It's called Knuckle. It's a movie. It's from 2011.
You're just like punching people in the face.
Yeah, 97 minutes. It's enjoyable. You should try it. Director Ian Palmer. It's a British documentary. It's I'll read the tagline here because I don't want to offend any of our British friends here. But I love this thing on a Jerry Springer level type stuff. But it says it's an epic 12-year journey into the brutal and secretive world of Irish traveler bare-knuckle boxing. The film follows the history of violent feuding between rival clans. It's two clans, the McDonoughs and the Joyces, and they both have champions. And the premise is the champions are going to get together, but they can't come to terms on fighting. And the champions are a man with like the horseshoe type balding, guy's like 40, wearing track pants. And the other champion is this character here, who looks like he's straight out of Jim Henson's shop, Mr. Joyce here. And he's a chain smoking horse degenerate betting guy. And he's constantly challenging McDonough. And you cannot understand a word that is being said, even though it's in English. There's mandatory subtitles on this. You can't watch it without subtitles for a reason. It's at one point funny, unintentionally funny, kind of gut wrenching and sad. These clans, they've been fighting for forever, decades. And they get together. It's not just one guy. It's like 12 guys will line up and they will box all day just in a field somewhere. and they have referees. They have to bring in referees from other places to keep it fair. They bet huge sums of money on each other. And most of the time it's like cousins, fighting each other. And they're busting each other's faces, knocking teeth out. And it gets to the point, like at the end, it's like, what are we even doing here, guys? Why is this still going? Why are we doing this? Every time the leader, the Gypsy King, Bare Knuckle King, he's after every fight, he's like, I'm not fighting anymore. That's my last fight. Then the next month, he's got another fight booked, for another 30 grand or whatever thing it is. Nobody works. Nobody has a job, but somehow they've all got money. Tony can speak to that, what these people do.
Yep.
They're all criminals, and
Yep.
They all have horses and the dogs. The Snatch, the people from Snatch.
Snatch.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
That's 100% what
Yeah.
it is. Those are real.
Yeah.
They're real people that are like that. Documentary follows James, the bare knuckle champion, and his little brother. It becomes kind of the focus of the story. He's haunted by a disqualification loss against the other king of the Joyce family. It was this big giant guy, and he lost because he bit him, and they disqualified him. You're biting in a bare knuckle bout. People are getting their teeth knocked out, just in some back alley somewhere, and he bit this giant guy. I don't know. It's degenerate gambler, backcountry bare knuckle brawling retards. I don't want to. I mean, what more is there to say? Watch this thing. It's on YouTube, I think. Watch this thing. Like I said, it's everything. It's sad. It's interesting. It's funny. Anyway, I've explained it terribly, but check it out, man. It's hilarious.
Me.
It sums up British gypsy culture quite well. There's a few other good documentaries that go along with it that could sort of like set the culture up altogether, because you get the sort of like male side of it with the bare knuckle boxing and the other work they're kind of doing, but the whole women's side of the thing of the gypsy lifestyle is a bigger part than what the male side is. It's unreal. A
lot of the women refuse to be. Most of the women refuse to be filmed for this side of the documentary. They didn't want to be filmed, and they all live in campers. It's really, but they all have horses somehow. I don't know. They're obsessed with horses. This culture, people, they gamble on everything and anything. They send each other VHS tapes back and forth, talking shit about the other clan. It's the weirdest, most bizarre culture I've ever seen. I can't believe it's real. But it all culminates with the rematch between the Joyce and McDonough, the new champions. The guy who was disqualified for biting, he gets his rematch, and then they just knock the shit out of each other. And it goes on for some of these bouts go on for over an hour. They go on until somebody quits or they both decide that it's a draw, which almost never happens. So they go until it's over with. So they're just pounding each other's brains out, bare knuckle, till the fight ends.
Yeah,
like the beginning of the UFC.
And they're British, so they'll stay there all night. They don't care. They'll just keep knocking each other's face in until somebody's dead.
There's
I'm gonna check that out,
a
man. That
huge drinking culture that goes along with it as well.
Well, they're British, like I said, Tony.
I mean, Tyson Fury into boxing, and if you like,
boxing, booze. They're British.
If you like Tyson, booze, I mean, if you like boxing, you like Tyson Fury. Just look at Tyson Fury's a traveller. His family are travellers. And if you go down the bloodline, they're just all Irish travellers, and that's where he comes from. That's why he's so good at fucking fighting. You know what I mean?
They're like half British, half Irish. So again, drinking and boxing is basically what they're into. And like I said, you're in it anytime Mr. Joyce is on camera. Anytime Mr. Joyce is on camera, it is great. That is my favorite character from this. And if you see him when he comes on, and he eventually he does fight in this, and he's about 60. I don't know. If he isn't 60, there's something really bad wrong with him.
He's massive as well.
But you can see even the kids.
He's like 6'2".
Yeah, the kids are doing it. They get on some Adidas track pants and some what they call trainers over there, sneakers, and just beat the shit out of each other.
go to town on it. It's crazy. It's crazy to see them. It's crazy to deal with these guys. I mean, I have feelings with, and they're fucking hard to deal with because it's all about pound notes. It's all about cash, and it's all about getting something at discount. If they're not getting it at discount, and they're coming back at night and they're fucking you for it. That's
They'll just
simple
steal
as.
it.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
That is it. It's crazy. Crazy.
It's all very vague
Yeah,
about what they do
steal.
for a living. Nobody has a job, and nobody wants to talk about their job.
Fuck all.
So
Rob people.
they steal.
No,
they try
rob
to
people
like
and sell
Anthony's saying. If they can't get a deal on something, they'll just steal it later that night. You know. So and then they resell it by the side of the road.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. They don't pay any tax. They don't pay any national insurance. They don't do fuck all. As far as the system goes, they don't exist.
All right. So my next one, again, my thing with documentaries, man, is I just enjoy seeing some fucked up shit. I can't help it. I'm just a sick man, and I apologize. But next one is going to be up from, it's a 7 release. I've talked about this one many times, but it's going to be The Killing of America. For me, this movie is almost like, I would say kind of a tamed version of Faces of Death. And when I say tamed version of Faces of Death, these are all real killings that you're seeing in this. So if that's not something that you want to see, do not watch this movie. But yes, there are real murders caught on camera in this. And it's a study basically of how much violence there is in America. There's a part in here where they mentioned 3 different countries. I don't remember which countries they are, but they said these 3 countries combined a total of the same amount of people that are in America. These 3 countries together have 6,000 murders a year. America has 34,000 murders a year. So we have the same exact amount of people between America and those 3 countries. Our murder rate is like fucking 50 times more than theirs is. And, it just shows everything in here from car accidents to police shootings to the assassination of Kennedy. I mean, and they show like the real fucking, you could see his face getting blown off and blood going on his wife and his wife jumping out of the car and the fucking Secret Service come, everything. So it is a very interesting documentary. And it's crazy when you look at it in retrospect and realize that, as a country that is supposed to be so, equal and fair, and we're not a third world country. For as much crazy shit that happens here, it's kind of crazy that that all that stuff happens here. They're saying another thing that in America, what is it? Every 20 seconds a murder happens. Every 5 seconds an attempted murder happens. Every 10 seconds a rape happens. It's like, man, just to think of those kind of statistics, as time goes by throughout the day, it's just unbelievable to think. This documentary came out in 1981, and shit's not getting any better. Shit's still happening. So I can almost guarantee those statistics are getting even higher. So for me, this is a very interesting documentary. Again, it is not for everybody. They do show actual murders in this. You do see people commit suicide. You do see all kinds of stuff like that. So that is not something that if you feel like you're going to be traumatized for life, do not watch it. If it's something you can tolerate, this is a very, very interesting documentary and human study of the country that a lot of us live in over here on YouTube land. So very interesting.
That's a good pull, man. I've heard of that, but never seen it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna check that out. I just made a note of it.
Great documentary. Great.
All right, my number 3. Again, don't have any of these to pull out, but I'll show you a picture of it. That is the Sins of the Father, the Green River Killer. I watched. You see, it's a Tubi original. Watch this on Tubi. And this dude right here, I tell you what, he's creepy as fuck because he looks like every guy next door. And I love documentaries like this, whatever, where, everybody lives next to somebody. And you just don't know what the shit goes on behind closed doors. This guy here he had a son. He was great with his son. He was a very attentive father. Gave his son anything he wanted. You would never think anything ill of this guy. But this son of a bitch killed up close to like 70 women, I think is where it ended up at. And the documentary goes really deep into, like, I'm talking to like his son, people that knew him, people that worked with him. stuff like that. And it just really is creepy as hell to think that you could be living next door to this guy. Any of us could, you know. The documentary came out in 2022. This stuff happened, I believe, I don't see it in my notes, I believe it happened in the early 80s. It was when all this shit went down. Obviously, they started finding all these girls' bodies in the Green River. This was like in Seattle, I believe, the Seattle area, suburb of Seattle. And it basically explores what it was like to grow up as the child of one of the most prolific serial killers in America. The guy's name was Gary Ridgway, the infamous Green River Killer. And he killed around 40 women. And was so fucked up, whatever. It's like I said, happened in the early 80s. And they actually found a semen sample from one of the women that he killed. But back then, they didn't have all the DNA testing and all that kind of stuff. So they couldn't ever, you know, find out who the guy was. Well, there was one guy on the case, whatever, that he followed this case for years. He was trying to solve the murders. Bodies kept building up. And this wasn't the thing where they would find the woman's body. They would find the woman's body and they would find 3 or 4 at one time. I mean, this guy was just going nuts. He was killing people left and right. And what he would do is he would go pick up, you know, girls that were down on their luck, prostitutes, stuff like that, whatever. That's kind of was who he was going after. But what was interesting is the guy that was on the case. So they finally closed the case. Okay, they were going to close the case. It was unsolved. He had a really hard time with that. He ended up coming back and becoming sheriff of this town. He reopened the case years later when they actually had the DNA capabilities, and they were able to go out and match this guy from 10-year-old DNA. And what's crazy to me is this guy didn't get the death chair. He basically made a deal that he would let them know where the other like 18 bodies were or something like that. And by doing that, they gave him life in prison instead of the death chair, the electric chair. So this guy killed almost 70 women and still didn't get the damn electric chairs or capital punishment. But yeah, it was crazy, man. If you're into stuff like this is almost more scary than anything you're going to watch in film, because this kind of shit, like I said, this could be your next door neighbor. Yep. You know, this guy had a regular job. He had a kid. He looked like he was just a regular church going, you know, whatever. But yeah, he was crazy as hell, man. And like he had got remarried, and the lady, even after he got caught, whatever, the lady that he was married to was like, "There's no way this guy could do this." And it interviews her about the shock and the turmoil she had to go through dealing with that. And yeah, this guy's creepy. So looking at him after knowing what he did, you can look at him and see, yeah, that guy looks like a fucking killer. But, you know, he looks like anybody else, you know. And shit like that's fascinating to me. It's scary as hell. You know, everybody's saying that we always live, it's always scary when it happens kind of close to your town. I've mentioned this before, but some of the Ted Bundy killing happened 7 miles from my house. Wow. You know, and that shit was, I was young. I was less than 10 when all that shit happened, whatever. But I do remember it. I mean, I have memories of the news stories when that shit was going on back then. So it was some crazy shit. So very fascinated with shit like this. It makes for a good documentary for sure.
What's that one called again?
It is called the where's it? Sins of the Father, the Green River Killer.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up.
That's you watch it on Tubi for free. Yeah, it's a good one, man. It's a good documentary
for sure.
That's the one, Alan, where they knock at his door and just after many years they just go and knock on his door.
Maybe I don't necessarily remember that exactly, but maybe
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like I said, the case was closed. You know, and they reopened it years later. Yeah. The guy was just one of the investigators was totally obsessed, and he's like, "Man, you know, I've worked on this for years." And he's boxed up his shit, going, "There's no way we can close this case." And he ended up getting elected sheriff, or whatever. Reopened the case, and they had all the tools to find this guy. You know, they still had the DNA stuff like that, and now they had the technology to find out who this guy was.
It's really beautiful shot.
It was crazy, man. Yeah. So let's catch up on the chat here and show this one first. Dirk, I appreciate it, buddy. Got a $5 super chat from Dirk there. Nice. I think Pops needs more super chats, so y'all come on. Dirk, I will send you your cut of that here real soon. I appreciate it.
$1. $1. I want my dollar, Alan. $1 piece.
$2 cash. All right, let's see. Where do we leave off at here? I think this was close to it here. Wild Regular says, the Mill Pond Monster, my area of Texas. Mill Pond Monster. That sounds like a good movie.
Check that out.
In the Fraggles
says, hell yeah, Tony. Y'all pulling out some bangers this stream better than the last, I feel. And the thing about it is, we could do 10 of these. There's so many fucking good documentaries out there. You know?
Yeah, I could just keep going and going.
Yeah. Crusher said Jake the Snake Roberts do not like that movie documentary at all. I'm thinking saying that Jake the Snake does not like it.
I got to find more white trash documentaries to put up. There's a lot of them out there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. 625. The American Me documentary, Lives in Hazard. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Check it out, Cholo.
That's a good one. Yeah, I've seen it. It's on the DVD that I have. Yeah, of American Me.
Well, we were talking. I was talking about this with somebody else, but you'll never see some of these blue tuber guys doing a documentary stream because they don't really watch movies like that. Like they got to buy the new. I don't give a shit if it's new or old. If it's good, I want to check it out. So
Exactly, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And, and that's the thing too. It's like I watch everything. Like a lot of people try to pigeonhole me in this horror thing, but I do love all movies. It's just horror's my favorite, but I love all movies, man.
Yeah, that's me as well. Adrian James says, Masters of the 80s, you sound like you're from the North, Yorkshire, I think.
No, I'm not Yorkshire. I'm the other side. I'm Lancashire.
Oh, Lancashire, Yorkshire.
War of the Roses back in the day.
Whenever I get a package from the UK, it sounds like, Castle Donington. My package is stuck at the Castle Donington. It's like I don't even know. Change the names already. This country's so damn old.
And Adrian James, I'm from the South. In case you're wondering, I'm from the South. He might be slow. In case you're wondering about that.
Yeah, he might have misunderstood.
Alligator country.
Yeah. Fucking freak.
Chubb says, going clear, Scientology and the prison of belief was nuts. I always looked at Tom Cruise a little different after watching that doc.
Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah.
It's an intense documentary.
Wild Wrangler said, Pop's got my 4K Star Trek Next Gen films in. Nice, man. I'm going to grab those. I'm probably going to get the box set because I got the box set from the originals. But yeah, I'm more of a original Star Trek than I am the Next Gen. I'll probably still pick them up. And I'm a Star Wars guy. I'm not the biggest Star Trek guy anyway, but I'm still going to grab them. Chubb says Citizen 4 was very eye-opening also. Yeah, that popped up on a lot of top 10s I was watching online, get some ideas for some of these documentaries. That Citizen 4 popped up a lot. Dirk saying damn Gizmo. I'm not sure which one that damn is pointing towards, but your deep throat fetish over there. Chubb says Gizmo's straight face. I love that deep throat documentary. Yeah. Sculder says, hey, they know some people who rob some people.
Yeah.
That's like bum fights.
Oh yeah, bum fights was awesome. And then there's another one fun too.
Yeah, but he's like, but these guys are bums. These guys are like high-ranking members of the society. You know what I mean?
They're the top. They're the top fighters in the clan. Yeah. And they practice. They practice with each other. They practice on each other back at the park. They go back to the park and they practice on each other. And they go and they train and everything. They train for these bouts, and then they just go and they take the gloves off when they were training with and actually fight. Yeah. They smashed in noses. I mean, it's crazy.
After bum fights came out, there was another one that came out called felony fights. So these were literally guys that got out of prison. It would show their stats and say how tall they are, and say what prison they got out of, what crime they did, and then to show who they're fighting, and then they're like literally just fucking let them go until one of them's knocked out. It's fucking hilarious.
It's crazy.
And Dirk got the ball rolling here. Heterosexual Whorehead. What a great name. $2 super sticker. I appreciate it, man.
I bet money that. I bet money that's Dirk. I would bet the $2.
Whoever it is, I do appreciate it very much. So we don't get a lot of that here on this channel at all. So it's always appreciated. Let's see here. Where did we leave off at here? Yeah, Dirk says, fucking right, Benicio. I wondered about that, thinking it was political, but that's why I passed on it.
No, it's everything. There are some things in it that are political, but it's all over the place. It's literally just a documentary of the violence in America.
Right. Dirk, hell yeah, Pops, that shit is real fear. Yeah, they do a good job on that. Well, that Conjuring House documentary, man, it was pretty intense at times. I felt like I was watching a fucking horror movie. They did a good job with it.
Thank you.
Wild Reynolds says, I like films because moment in time captured. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hell yeah, Dirk, I love bum fights.
Yep.
All right, well, we are caught up with the shit, guys. So we're going to move on. And let me take that down.
So again, this next show is probably surprised people know the shit I post on my channel, but it's a really good documentary if you're into this kind of stuff, and it is Power of Grayskull: The Definitive History of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. This breaks the entire franchise down from start to end. This came out in 2009. It's about 96 minutes long. It takes a look at the franchise from the beginning as a concept, right into the toy line, right into the cartoon, then right into the live action that was done. Follows it from beginning to end. Everybody that was in the know. So it starts off with the guys over at Mattel in the concept department of trying to come up with a new toy line. Everything that was doing at Mattel at that time was pretty much struggling. They just turned down the Star Wars toy line. Lucas had approached Mattel to make Star Wars toys, and Mattel told them that they didn't have enough time to do a turnaround for when Lucas wanted the toys. So he did it onto somewhere else. And when he realized how well those Star Wars toys were doing, Mattel pretty much shit themselves. They lost the corner of the market. They was really relying on Hot Wheels and Barbie at this point, and were struggling with franchises. So they didn't really know what to do. So they went to one of the concept designers they had and asked him what he was into at that particular time. And he was into Conan the Barbarian. So they asked him to knock some concept art out, and they went from there. And that's basically where the story of He-Man and Master Universe starts. It's basically a Conan the Barbarian ripoff, and then just sort of tamed down for a younger audience. This goes through the whole workings of Mattel, and then Mattel pass it over to Filmation. Filmation was the company that made He-Man and Master of the Universe cartoon for TV. That went bananas. Kids loved it, which made Mattel even more money on the toy line. So as Master of the Universe, the cartoon, was developing new characters, Mattel was trying to make new characters within the toy line to keep up. This was a snowballing moneymaker all the way. I mean, this was the billion-dollar organization at the end. And then when things started to dip a little bit, they started running out of characters, running out of ideas. Canon Films came along. Canon Films said they would like the franchise to try and do a film with. They give it out to some guys to write a concept and write some concept art and characters up, and really fucked it up, but didn't really have much time to do anything else with, so they had to run with it. So the film, everyone knows the film. I mean, I love Master of the Universe as a film. I think it's fantastic. As a kid, I fucking despised it. I remember coming out of the cinema after watching Master of the Universe and thinking, what the fuck have I just watched? That wasn't He-Man. That wasn't Master of the Universe that I know. It was just fucking garbage. But over the years, it's become a cult classic. And if you go back and watch it now, it's extremely good. Once it gets to the point in this documentary where it starts talking about the film, Dolph Lundgren's heavily involved. They interviewed Dolph Lundgren quite a bit. But what's even better, they interviewed Frank Langetta, who played Skeletor. That guy gave an acting masterclass to Skeletor. It's unbelievable how much he sells that character. Fantastic acting. And then from the whole He-Man sort of franchise itself, it sort of breaks a little bit down, and it starts to look at the She-Ra franchise. So they thought if they could replicate the same thing for girls, there'd be more money involved. But when they broke it down, there was sort of the writing, the direction, everything about She-Ra was far superior to what He-Man was. And if you watch the two shows now, She-Ra is by far the better show. And then it sort of breaks it down again, and it loops into the reboot of the New Adventures of He-Man from 1990, where He-Man's set in space. And then it gets up to about 2002 with the New Adventures of He-Man, and it sort of talks about that cartoon line and the toy line that came with that. So if you're a Master of the Universe fan and you're a He-Man fan, then you really do need a copy of this. It's brilliant from start to end. It's really, really entertaining. It gives you all the insights you need to see. It's unreal how much money was involved in this franchise. It was making billions over the 8 years that the franchise was at its height. It was the largest grossing toy line that has ever been produced, even to this date. You know what I mean? It was outselling everything. So if you're into Master of the Universe or any of its spin-offs, then check this out. You won't be disappointed. It's really good.
Nice.
There we go.
Yeah, I was more of a Star Wars guy growing up. In my bedroom back in the day, my toy room, Darth Vader would beat He-Man's ass every day.
I was more like a Candyman,
that's
Hellraiser, Exorcist kind of kid. So
Me too.
It's. I mean, Star Wars was of its time. Those toys were at the time, and everyone sort of copied the 3 3/4 inch toy line that Palitoy turned out because it was a big thing. Star Wars was a big thing. And what sort of Master of the Universe and what Mattel did with that toy line, where they made him big, they made him bulky, they made everything fucking ludicrously large. Kids loved it and couldn't get enough of the fucking stuff. It was unreal.
Yeah, it was a big deal. Man.
It was a massive deal, and it's amazing the franchise still holds up today. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys watched the Netflix stuff that Kevin Finger did.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, what's his name? I can't think of the hell's name. He was like
James, no, Kevin.
Smith.
Clerks.
Kevin Smith.
Was it Kevin Smith? Yeah. What he did as frontrunner and producer of that show for Netflix, that He-Man TV show for Netflix is fantastic. Really, really good. Aimed at a more adult audience. It's great.
Yeah. The next film is I haven't seen it since I saw it at cinema, and I will probably never watch it again. It's not about the politics in this one, so I'll probably be hated by half of America now.
Off to a good start.
I'm used to that. For me, I think this director could have made probably the best documentaries in the world if he just went into a little bit more, how you say it, when you are not like telling your side of the story all the time in a doc, like if you're a little bit in the middle, like the last one I took.
Sitting on the fence.
Unbiased.
Yeah. Sitting on the fence is probably also good. But it's Bowling for Columbine.
Oh, that's a lefty documentary. Way left.
Yeah, that's what I said. Half of America hate me now.
I don't know. It's still an entertaining documentary, but he inflates all the numbers, and it's very political, that documentary, one way and not the other.
But when I read about it,
should be unbiased, like you were saying. The documentary should be telling the story, not manipulating the story, which that one definitely does. But I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to look up on the internet after when I went right before we actually did this, just to check some numbers and stuff, if I remember it rightly. But I think this one was made during 2008 or 9 or something.
Oh, before that.
No, it's really old. It's really old, 2002.
Yeah.
but I checked from 2010 till 2020 some statistic, and that really fucked my head up, because they said that in Europe we are about 700 to 800 million people living, and in America it's about 300 or 400.
400 million.
400, yeah. But in Europe we have had up till, I think it was around 30 school shootings, while in America you had like 400 school shootings or something in the same period of time. And that starts like, that fucked my head up totally, because then I really want to watch this again.
10 times the population, you're going to have 10 times the amount.
No, we are twice as many as you are. We are 700 million in Europe. So
all of Europe.
Yeah. And that's insane. So I was just like, what the fuck? It can't be true. So I need to go and check this one again, but I don't know. I was down after I watched this, because I think it's a dark film. It's but as I said, I do think he really is a master of his craft. It's only that I do think that he should have left his own opinion a little bit on the side.
He's a master of propaganda, is what he is. He's very talented at what he does, but it's propaganda.
Yeah, but I think that the technical stuff he is really good at, and also actually the interviews. It's just that he cut up the interviews also, so he gets exactly the right words. I remember. I also seen the one he did in Norway, where he was bragging about the Norwegian prison system here and stuff. But not everything he says about that is completely true. So it's like I'm agreeing with you, Brad. I think he twists something. But
I know exactly what you're saying. If he left his bias out of it, he could be the best documentary filmmaker ever. He's so biased that you can't. He puts too much of his own spin on it instead of letting the story, speak for itself.
Yeah, but I do think this is the best documentary I've seen on cinema in my entire life, and I will never forget the experience I had because it really shook me up, and it was a hard watch. I remember. And it was even harder today when I checked the number. So that's fucked. But it's good.
Is it about Columbine or is it about school shootings, period?
It's about violence in America in general.
Okay.
Yeah. Mainly focus on like they take up the Columbine, if I remember it rightly. And then they go into like different situation or different school shootings in America. And then they talk about the weapon industry and all of that. But I don't remember the movie 100%. I just remember how I experience it at the cinema.
Yeah,
it's less a documentary and more his narrative on why he believes America is the way it is, his perception of America.
But the school shooting thing, that's really fucked up my head. Think about that. We are twice as many people in Europe, and still we have like 40 school shootings for the last 10 years, and America has
there's no country called Europe. That's a bunch of countries, most of which do not have firearms at all. But if you would look at the bombings in Europe versus the bombings in the U.S., the numbers would be staggering the other way. That there's, X times more bombings in Europe than there are in the United States because we kill each other with guns, you kill each other with bombs. I'd rather be shot personally than blown up. So it's just that he leaves those statistics out and makes it all looks one-sided from his point of view is the point I'm making. Because it's sad. He could really do great work if he wasn't so biased in one direction.
Yeah.
I've always heard of that documentary. I've never seen it.
I take it he's an American.
Never watched it.
I never
He's
heard
American.
of it. Want to watch it?
He's from Michigan.
But they always talk about Canada all the time. So I always thought it was Canadian. Maybe they live up there.
He's close to Michigan. Is close to Canada.
Okay.
A lot of people from Michigan go to Canada a lot.
He's always bragging about Canada in his films.
Yep. Again, a country that's got 40 million versus our 400 million.
Right.
My number 2, this is not the documentary. The documentary has no physical release, but this is the exact same story. It's called Too Big to Fail. It's about the 2008 financial crisis. The actual documentary is called Panic, the Untold Story of the 2008 Financial Crisis. It was a 2018 production from HBO and Vice documentary. John Maggio directed it. It's 96 minutes. If you haven't seen this movie, it's literally the exact same story. It begins at the same time, and it brings all the people back. Nancy Pelosi, all the politicians involved are brought back in this documentary. It is extremely informative and fascinating for somebody in my industry and what I do for a living. So that may be just a bias for me, but I loved it. I've seen that documentary probably 8 times. There's no physical release, unfortunately. Maybe we'll get one, maybe we won't get one, but I don't want to say too much about it. I mean, it's probably boring for anybody that's not in in this industry. So it's fascinating. If you like The Big Short, check out that documentary. Like I said, Panic. You can find it on YouTube. Like I said, I won't go too deep into it because I think it's, like I said, you have to be involved in finance to be interested in it. So, but it's really good.
It
Short
sounds
movie.
like a porn title.
2008. Was that the trouble with the Lehman Brothers?
Lehman Brothers, yeah. Lehman's heavily featured in it, and this movie's actually really good. By the way, if you want to check it out, this is the faster version, the kind of the Cliff Notes version of the actual documentary. But this is a fun movie, by the way. A lot of good people in it, good actors.
So the next two, I actually cheated a little bit. For one, they don't have releases. They're actually going to be Netflix docuseries, so I hope those count because my next two are going to be those. For my number two, I'm going to go with, it's called Crime Story. It's about the Cecil Hotel, and it's a very... This one actually felt like there was parts in this documentary that creeped me the fuck out. So it's basically this girl, I believe she's of Asian descent, but she lives in Canada. She has a lot of problems. She has depression. She has anxiety. She has like split personalities, all kinds of stuff like that. But she takes a lot of medication that suppresses all that, and she can function like a normal person. She decides to, I used to drive for Uber for a little bit in San Francisco, and a lot of these tourists that come from other countries, they literally Google search and they find the cheapest fucking hotel that they can. And then when you pull up and you're in the fucking ghetto, they look around like, is it safe for me to get out of the car? It's like, why don't you do more research than this? You really think that like hotels are supposed to cost this much money? So anyway, that's where she fucking goes to, is the Cecil Hotel, which right around the corner from that is Skid Row in LA, which is nothing but homeless and infection and disease and drugs and everything else down that fucking street. So the Cecil Hotel was a haven for a lot of crime, a lot of prostitutes. There was actually a story where that one guy, what's his name? Something Hernandez, the guy with the fucking pentagram on his hand.
Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
Richard Ramirez, there you go. He went out, slaughtered some people, came back naked with blood all over his body, walked inside of the Cecil Hotel lobby, and they just waved at him, hey, how you doing? And he goes upstairs and goes to his room. Nobody said anything, nobody nothing, and that's just what kind of hotel this was. So it's basically her disappearance that happened there. And it's fucking creepy because first you think it's like a ghost or she's being haunted or something like that. But then I won't tell you the story, but I'll get into a little bit. But they show this video footage from a elevator, and it shows her like literally having a conversation with somebody and then getting back like she's scared and then like saying like this and like hiding and kept looking out of the thing. And at one point, if you really like look, it looks like you could see a hand coming. So it's like maybe she is talking to somebody and maybe she really is scared of somebody. But so many things like that happened. They ended up finding her body on the fucking roof.
Oh, yeah, in the tank.
Water systems up there, and she was inside there, drowned, floating. The only reason that they ever knew where this body was at is because somebody downstairs from, I think, Europe or something like that was using the water, and they were like, it's like green slush. Tried to drink it, it just tasted disgusting. They had to move it.
It was tainted. Her
body could processing through the water system and the whole thing. So yeah, that's kind of all I want to say about it. If that sounds interesting to you at all, this documentary is fucking amazing. It's really, really great. It gets even deeper than that. It literally, there was parts of it that gave me chills on my arm. Like it really, really affected me the first time I watched it. I actually only seen it once. So it was when it first came out. But it was fucking great. I was fully entertained. I was at the edge of my seat. It was creepy. And then the outcome is kind of, I kept going back and forth like, okay, is it this or is it this? And then once you get to the end, it's like, fuck, it was just that the whole time, so I don't know. It's very trip, man. I highly suggest.
Yeah, I've seen some of those videos, man.
It is really good. Yeah. It is really good. I've seen it a couple of times. And
Benicio saw Crime Story.
You think, is it something?
Cecil Hotel.
Is it paranormal?
Say that again.
It is really good. It brought about a million sort of internet detectives out all at the same time, all trying to solve the crime or trying to solve something all over the internet. They were flooding the hotel. You know what I mean? Police were trying to get them out of there because they thought it might have been a crime scene. It is good. It is freaky. And then the end of it, you go, all right, okay. It's like a bit of
Yeah.
an anticlimax. It's a weird ending. But it is really good.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the only part I didn't like about it was that when you start seeing these YouTube stars like doing their fucking investigations, like, come on, why do you guys have to throw this in there? Like, at least like add that in there a little bit. But they made like a whole episode about that, and that kind of was annoying. But it was really interesting, man. And I kind of even liked the climax because I just like, no way, it can't just be that. And then it comes out that it is that. So I kind of actually enjoy that because it's like, man, this whole time I'm thinking the possibility of it being something else, and it just wasn't, you know. So it's a very interesting story, man. It is fucking creepy, man. There are parts in that thing that creep me the fuck out.
Yeah, man, I agree. Fuck YouTube stars.
Yeah, I mean the sort of like the whole.
It's not that, dude. It's just the fact that, come on, man. Like, I don't know, YouTubers out there, I feel like in that, like, they're just trying to get their face in this documentary. That's it, you know. And you know, they're primal neighborhood fucking watch people. Like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know. I just feel like they were just attention whores, those people. Like, we do this shit because of passion. I feel like they're doing it to be attention whores, you know?
Yeah,
right.
Trying to get
big
clicks.
difference. Yeah, that's right up my alley, man. I wrote it down. I'm gonna check it out.
Really.
This is another crime documentary I watched. That, man, this was a good one. It's called American Murder: The Family Next Door. Yeah, this one here, man. I really like the way they did this one here. They actually showed. I don't want to go too much into it as far as, well, I guess really the documentary pretty much tells you the deal. So it's not really a twist or a surprise. But basically, you got this family. There's it's a husband and wife, and they got 2 little kids. The wife's pregnant again with her 3rd child. And the way they do it, they actually show like actual text messages from friends. They go days before, days after, kind of, you know, when this lady goes missing. Basically, the documentary starts. The lady shows up. You see her doorbell camera. You see actual live footage of the doorbell camera. Her girlfriend dropping her off. She's coming back from the airport, a late flight, like 2 a.m. You see her walk in the house. You're seeing actual footage, whatever, you know, from the cops coming to the house. You know, the lady basically is missing. And throughout the documentary, you're trying to figure out, you know, what happened to this lady, whatever. And they interview the husband. The husband seems kind of freaked out about it. You know, what's going on? They got 2 beautiful children. I'll show you a picture of the family here just to give you a visual. I mean, it looks like anybody's family, you know. I mean, this guy looks like Mr. fucking normal, you know, pretty wife, 2 beautiful kids. You know, when this lady goes missing, it's like, you know, this guy's, surely it wasn't him, is what I'm thinking. And come to find out it was, man. And this fucking guy, the way he did this, basically he found him a young piece of ass. He found him a girl on the side. She obviously threw something on his ass because he basically was wanting to leave this girl, I guess. And he started being real distant from his wife. And you see text messages from her to her girlfriend going, he hadn't seen me, and she went and visited her family for a while. And basically she's like, this guy's, you know, he's always been Mr. Wonderful. Now he's ignoring me. I feel like he's cheating. You come to find out he is cheating. Instead of just saying, hey, look, I want a fucking divorce, I want out, he fucking kills this girl, drives her body to a work site to go get rid of her. He's got his 2 fucking kids in the back seat. He smothers both the kids, you know, and you see the actual court stuff with the families, the dad, mom and dad of this lady he killed. Man, this fucking heartbreaking, man. But the way they did it, showing the actual back and forth with the text messages and stuff like that. I mean, by the time this thing was over, you felt like you knew everybody. You know, it was very personable. I thought they did a really fucking good job with this documentary as far as getting to know these people and just like, how the fuck did this happen? And I think that somebody in the courtroom actually says, look here, if you wanted to fucking go off and have this affair, just get a fucking divorce. Just tell you want to get divorced. You ain't got to fucking kill everybody. You know, it's like it was mind blowing. And like I said, it kind of goes to something else I wanted to talk about. Anytime you see somebody on Facebook, everybody I'm sure knows this. You see somebody on Facebook, they look like the fucking, you know, the Brady Bunch, Mr. fucking Happy. On Facebook, they look like they're the perfect family, the perfect everything. But you know these people in real life, you see them fight and bitch and cuss all the fucking time. In real life, they're heinous. You see them on Facebook, they're Facebook beautiful. Everything's wonderful. You know, you see that shit all the time. You can't believe what you see.
That is exactly why I fucking hate the internet, because the internet is all just a facade of people that want attention. You know what I mean? So it's like people are never exactly how they look like on the internet. You know, nobody real through their pictures and their
Yeah, I
life.
know people, man. I hang out with some of these people. I ain't naming their names, obviously, because someone watches this fucking channel. But in real fucking life, dude, they're heinous, man. They fight and bitch and piss and moan all the fucking
They
time.
stop. They
And you
stop
get on
just long
Facebook,
enough. They stop just long enough to take the picture,
right?
and then it's right back to
You know,
fuck her.
and you see them on Facebook. It's like, if I didn't know these people in real life, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, it looks like the Huxtables and the Brady Bunch had a fucking baby, and this is the offspring. I mean, they're like Mr. Fucking Happy, you know, and it's just, it blows my fucking mind. You know, I mean, me and my wife, we fight and bitch like everybody else, whatever. But you know,
but it's different.
You know, we don't. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's crazy. But like I said, just look at it again. They look like any family you would see on Facebook, Mr. Fucking Perfect. And this dude fucking smothered these two kids, man. I mean, it was fucking heartbreaking, man. It got me, man. It was rough. And this guy just looked like a normal guy who was so fucking cold. When the cops came to do some investigation, he reported her missing. You know, he had her wedding rings laying on the dresser next to the bed. Her phone was there. He made it look like she might have left him, maybe. And you go back by the time you get to the end and you see how he acted at that very beginning. We're talking cold, dude, ice cold. No emotion at all. He just fucking killed both his kids. Not to mention his wife. And she was like pregnant at the time. And not only did he kill his two kids, his wife was pregnant. So yeah, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. But
I see that one, man. That would be pretty bad too. That was a really good one.
Yeah. Just the way they did it with I'm showing all the actual text messages and shit like that. And they did a great fucking job with that documentary, I thought. Really got me invested in it.
I agree, man. I second that. That was a great one.
All right, let's get caught up with the chat here, guys. Still got 16 people watching here. Appreciate it. Crusher's still watching there. He says, I have the power. So he's a He-Man fan. I felt like a dork saying that.
You got to put my soul into it, Pops.
Yeah, that's all the soul you get out of me. Sorry, brother. Wild Wrangler says, great pick, He-Man. Oh. Chris C, what's going on, Chris? Even all hope we're doing good. Appreciate you being here, man. Chris C says, I got the He-Man DVD collection. I got it at Walmart. I love it so much. Awesome, man.
See, man. Everybody loves He-Man.
True master of the 80s. I love Master of the Universe. Yep. Yeah, y'all go check out fucking Tony's channel, man. If you're into all that 80s cartoon stuff, all that shit, man, there's nobody out there that covers it better than he does. Y'all go check out his channel, man. He's got some cool shit over there.
Nobody else out there that covers it.
No, there's just me.
Well, there you go. There you go. More reason to go check it out. So, Chris said, there's that Netflix cartoon, He-Man. That's actually pretty good, yeah. Heterosexual Whorehead. Great name. Great fucking name. I used to love He-Man as a kid, but I got a bit older and discovered pussy. It was like,
and you're telling me that's not Dirk, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pussy fucked up all that shit back in the day, man. I had to put all my Star Wars toys and shit up, man. It fucked me all up. Dirk said G.I. Joe was the shit as well. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Chris, he said, in the new one, Skeletor is his uncle. Very cool.
Yeah.
What's up, Kal-El?
Hello,
everybody. Yeah, laughing at Whorehead. Cocaine Cowboys, yeah, we mentioned that earlier. It's very good. Michael Mann co-produced or directed that documentary, I think.
Yeah, I think they made a movie about it with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, they did.
Kal-El.
It's called The Mummy.
Yeah.
Shows was saying, wait, you're telling me Europe is not a country?
Yeah.
Alan says, I don't know, Brad. Have you ever seen The Specialist starring Sly? Bombs are pretty precise or more precise.
I love The Specialist. It takes place in Miami, I believe, and he programmed the bombs and it said like bye like or something like as the person was getting blown up and stuff. I'm like, you just murdered somebody, dude. You having a good time?
Could you imagine hearing that last thing before you die? Fuck, I'd be so.
Yeah. Sounds solid, Gizmo. Holland says, "Oh, Nancy Pelosi, Gizmo, you need that."
There you go.
I already have her here in this box. She's there.
I think she just.
Chris says also Medici Crime Story Hotel is very good. I might watch that tonight actually. By the way, is that? By the way, it's what American Horror Story Hotel got their story from. That's the one season of American Horror Story I haven't watched.
Yep.
I need to check that one out. I heard it was good. Chris says, which is my favorite AHS season. Dirk says, sounds interesting. All I know says black water or low pressure. Yum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked up about the damn water supply, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Chris says, so The Night Stalker is a great documentary series, chilling as hell.
I've heard that, yeah.
On the Chris Watts story, yeah, I see that one out there. That's on my list to watch too. Yeah, that dude. Yeah, Chris Watts is a knucklehead. Chris says, I saw that one. I was fascinated by it. Dirk said, Pop said she put that good on his ass.
Now you said it.
Okay. Chris says, a family annihilator, a piece of shit. And Chris says, remember the Chris was a big dude. He lost weight. Once that happened, he became cocky. Yeah, and he wasn't that big of a dude. He did lose some weight. He went from like 240 down to like 185. He was working out. He thought he was Mr. fucking, ladies man now. But again, don't cheat on your fucking wife. But if you're going to, fucking just divorce her. Don't fucking kill her. And it's like, what are you thinking?
And your kid, like, fuck.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. Gives me fucking chills just thinking about it. Wild Wrangler says, my friend took his son to see the new Mario movie.
I heard it's good, man. People are saying it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll check it out once it's available on streaming and stuff. I'll probably check it out. Dirk said the background behind y'all looks like y'all are a news channel. Yeah, that was kind of what I was going for there. Trinity says, I hope Movie Hoarders makes the list. It's about the community, my favorite. I got to sit right over there. I still ain't watched that bitch yet. I've had that thing for probably a year and a half now. Still ain't watched it yet.
I watched it. I think I sent mine to Tony because he didn't have it. I think.
Yeah, it went out of stock at one time, and then it came back in stock, and I grabbed it. I mean, I need to watch it, I guess.
Tony wasn't.
Ali said the family photo you showed literally looked like a stock photo. It's really crazy. It really is crazy what happens behind closed doors with normal-looking families. So awful what he did to his family. Yeah, man. And I'll be honest with you, when I first started watching it, I knew nothing about the story or anything, so I didn't know how it was going to play out.
Same.
At first, I'm thinking, this guy seems like such a nice guy, and his wife was kind of I don't want to say she was kind of a bitch, but she was kind of overbearing a little bit, And at first, I was kind of on the guy's side. I was like, she seemed kind of like a pain in the ass. And then I was like, okay, I changed gears pretty quick when I realized what the fuck was going on.
You're saying she
wasn't that bad. No, I ain't saying that at all. But at first, I was kind of felt bad for the guy. He just lost his family. His family's missing. And then I realized what was going on.
A divorce, but not death.
Yeah, leave her, man. Just leave her. Hey, Trini, the community. Wild Wrangler said, tonight on Pop's History of VHS. Saying hey back to Dirt. And said hey to Allie. Out of print, by the way, my Giallo Essentials white box set just showed up. Physical media greatness for life. Nice, man. I think they just announced like a baby blue looking edition.
Like a neon one or something. They got a new one just came out. What's the new? What color? I
gotta grab the white one. I got all the rest of them. I haven't grabbed the white one yet.
I missed the first one.
Yeah. So Pop, you're saying she deserved it. No, that's not what I'm saying. By the way, hello, Allie. I don't know if I said hello to you. Appreciate you being here.
What's up?
Yep. News background. Yeah, sky blue box, bro. So, all right, guys. So where are we at number two?
Number one.
Number one. See?
Number one.
I'm supposed to know what's going on around here.
Who's running this?
Yeah. Take your pick.
So we are back to another wrestling documentary. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the best wrestling documentary I've ever seen. Again, from being in the UK, from being inside Britain, I was used to British style wrestling, which if you see it now, you'll laugh your fucking tits off at it. It's terrible. And then when we started getting the 80s stuff, the WWF stuff in the UK, it was coming in through Sky TV. It was coming in dribs and drabs. We didn't see that much of it. And then we slowly but surely started getting WCW. And I was engrossed. I loved both franchises. But the older I got, the sort of like, the less it was sort of doing for me, until a friend of mine said, have you checked this out? ECW. And since ECW came out and we got ECW on Bravo in the UK, I was obsessed with ECW wrestling as a promotion and everything they did. So this particular documentary, ECW Forever Hardcore from 2005, is brilliant. If you're into wrestling in any way, shape or form, this is probably the best wrestling documentary you're ever going to see. Sort of from an independent company's point of view, what they did should never have happened. It should never have taken off like it took off. It should never have got the leverage like it got. It should never have got a TV deal. It should never have got pay-per-view deals. It was an amazing little franchise. And this documentary starts right at the beginning as the franchise just gets going. And the end of the documentary, it's got to it where the sort of wheels have fell off it, and WWF have come in and they've pretty much mopped up every wrestler within this federation, taking over those. Yeah, any of the talent that was in ECW have now gone to WWF, and then WWF bought the rights to ECW. So now any money that was being made out of ECW was going to WWF, and it was a shame, really. At the end of it, it was a bit of a shit show, but the talent that this produced was unreal. Again, this was the brainchild of Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman brought in Terry Funk. Terry Funk dragged this promotion through kicking and screaming. A lot of the guys that came in here loved Terry Funk and the way Terry Funk ran things, the way Terry Funk had ideas. So, you know what I mean? They were pretty much queuing up to do interviews for this documentary. So you had guys on here, Shane Douglas, he was one of the first main guys who held the title for ECW. He's on here. Terry Funk's on here explaining why he loved this sort of small indie scene more than the big sort of like big finance companies. You got Sabu on here. If you know Sabu was a wrestler, you know what he did for the industry was unbelievable. The sort of high flying stuff that he was doing, no one else was doing at the time. The crazy madman that is Raven, he's on here with the interview and his antics that he was getting up to and the stories and plots he was writing for ECW. Sandman, who was an absolutely fucking drunken alcoholic that they brought into this franchise, who couldn't wrestle at all. They just brought him in because he was a fucking nut job and he played up to the crowd brilliantly.
Yeah, a lot of people say Stone Cold Steve Austin took his gimmick.
Definitely
the biggest star in the sport or in the industry.
Yeah, and then they bring New Jack in here. No, New Jack passed away, I think, a couple of years back. But New Jack was a legitimate gangster, legitimate fucking nut job. I mean, a crazy guy, over the top hardcore wrestler, extreme wrestler. Jerry Lynn was in here. Jerry Lynn had a good run within WWF back in the day. Some of the gimmicks that it showed what they got up to with it within this particular franchise. Before ECW started, most of these guys were wrestling for NWA. And when Shane Douglas picked up the NWA title, the second he picked up the NWA title, he sort of shit all over it, threw it on the floor, pissed all over it, and then they changed the title overnight to ECW, which was a crazy thing. No one knew that was happening. It was just complete takeover. There was a whole angle that Raven was working within ECW. That was on a pay-per-view where he fucking crucified someone in the ring. So they've got somebody on a fucking cross and they hoist him up. Was fucking pay-per-view got cut. There's people going mad. It was just ludicrous. And then I think the biggest incident two big incidents, but the main one was New Jack wrestling a new guy on the roster that no one knew, and it's known as the mass transit incident, where this new wrestler was told by New Jack that he wanted colouring. So New Jack was notorious for making people bleed. New Jack gets him in the ring, cuts this guy. What New Jack didn't know, and the rest of the guys didn't know, that this like 300-pound fucking giant was only 17 years old. And basically, he fucking got done for GBH, and he scalpeled the lad's head open straight across the front to the point where you could see the fibers of the guy's skull. There's blood everywhere. The guy's passing out, and it was just carnage. And if you're into sort of the whole ethos of what ECW was, that sums it up. It was just carnage every single night that there was a show on in Philly. It was just nuts. And like I said, me seeing this at an older age and had just been used to standard wrestling, watching this kind of stuff, yeah, man, I was in both feet. So if you've never seen this documentary, check it out. It is batshit crazy. These guys were drinking. These guys were doing drugs. These guys were shagging the way around the fucking United States of America, no matter where they ended up. It's a really, really good documentary. It's fun, and for me, one of the best wrestling documentaries there is.
I believe it's also on YouTube. So if you need to check it out, who's there?
It is, yeah. I mean, there's a like a partner documentary that goes with it called, I think it's called The Rise and Fall of ECW. And the two sort of go hand in hand. They were done by different people, but the two documentaries go hand in hand. But both are on YouTube. You can see both on YouTube. But it was amazing to see some of these guys move over to other stables, to other franchises, and do really, really well. And then some of the other guys that were really popular within ECW do absolutely nothing anywhere else.
Can't wrestle. Like Sandman, you mentioned, was extremely popular in ECW, but he doesn't know how to wrestle.
No.
So it doesn't work in any other organization.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy Dreamer was a big thing as well within the ECW ranks. He was well loved. I think he ended up going over to WWF. Sandman ended up going over to WWF. Taz went over to WWF. They took a lot over there. And it was good to see those guys, you know what I mean, go on to bigger, better things. But as far as ECW went, man, I loved the fucking bones of it. It was great.
I just made a note. I'm going to watch that as well. I got about 5 things to watch. That's what y'all pulled.
2 of them are Nazi related. Not to be 3.
The next one, I think I also mentioned last time, actually, because I picked Lost in La Mancha, I believe, as the other one. But I need to do this this time around, and I think it's the guy, one of the owner of Severin Films, who made this.
Oh yeah,
David Gregory.
Yeah, and Lost Soul, and it's a documentary about the shooting of The Island of Dr. Moreau, the remake from '95, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably the only person in the world who actually loved that film. I don't even just like it. I love the fucking film. I think it's a masterpiece.
No way.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's hard to actually tell that much about this, because the really important thing with this documentary is just to go in and be surprised on how crazy the production was. Because I already knew back in the 90s, I probably read it through Empire or Total Film or something, that the movie was delayed and it was a lot of shit happening and all of that. And everybody know back then that Val Kilmer was like the worst person to work with. But in this one, they actually managed to bring Val Kilmer, Marlon Brando together in a film. And this was the later days of Marlon Brando also, when he was kind of, I don't know, senile, or at least pretty much gone. And I just find this documentary a perfect crafted film. And it's fun from the beginning till the end. And maybe I'm a little bit biased on this one since I love the film that much, but I do think you will enjoy it, even though if you don't like the film itself, because that film really flopped hard, and it was also a really big budget movie that really bunkered, or how you say it. Like it was a big flop. So maybe I'm biased on that. I don't really know. I do think that
if it has a huge budget and then it flops, it tends to be right up Gizmo's alley. If they spent $100 million on it and nobody ever, it did terribly, like for some reason that fascinates you, like Showgirls. Showgirls was a huge budget and it made nothing.
But you got to remember that I don't like normally Hollywood movies that has a generic script. I hate that. I like it when they try to do something different, like Showgirls, like The Island of Dr. Moreau, where they try to do a different take on something you have, even do a different take of something you have seen 100 times before. That's why I hate movies today, is because you have seen everything before what Hollywood brings, and it's just the same generic story over and over again. So the only thing I can delay and how you say, like the only thing I can get out of the new films are kind of the retrospect of the greatness of what was before. So to give an example, like Top Gun Maverick, I love that film, but it was just because they wanted to make a pure action film, and that was the thing. Today they always got to bring in all those retrospect shit from what was great before, and I'm so tired of that. So that was why I make joke about The Mummy earlier, because I thought that was one of the worst films ever made, and I'm not
Mummy,
with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise one, yeah.
Yeah, they made that specifically in mind for like the North Africa market. It's meant to be like, you could tell when they made it, like the way I watched it, you could tell it's like a foreign, like, you know, it's for people that live near Egypt. You know what I mean? Like those kind of people, like it's like those Transformers movies. Those Transformer movies are U.S. property, but they're made for the Chinese market, and they're like the biggest movies in China. So it's like, it's all about, it's less about the art, is what you're saying, and I agree with you. It's less about the art and more about, okay, let's make some money. You know, it's less like, you know, let's make a good movie, and it's more like, let's make a successful movie these days.
And I will spoil one thing from this, because that's the one of the funniest parts, but that's just to bring you into this film. When you know that the director is so fucking crazy, he got fired during the shoot of the film. So what he ended up doing was dressing like one of the monkeys to be part of the shoot, just so he can feel that he had a little bit of control of the production still. The director who actually directed the film in the ending, he didn't know he was there. So he was just one of the extras running around in those monkey costumes. And that's also something I will bring to the table with the original film, is that, and that's really fun in this one, you can actually see it behind the scenes shot of that. I still think the makeup and the special effects in this film are better than most films are today, because they put a lot of work on the costume and makeup design of the monkey people and everything, and the movement and everything. It looks so fucking good. So I highly recommend this and the movie also, if you haven't seen it. And if you hate the movie, still see the documentary. I think it's great.
Yeah. Sometimes the documentary is better than the movie. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Richard Stanley has a lot of great films.
Well, my number one is also directed by David Gregory. It's 2012. David Gregory's the owner of Severn. Second Sight hired him to do this documentary. It's called What's in the Basket. It's a documentary about the Basket Case franchise. It's on this Second Sight release, and it's also on the Arrow release of the first one.
Oh, really?
It's 88 minutes long. Like I said, it's about all three Basket Case movies, the origins, the conceptions, reception, the whole 9 yards, everything that goes into it. Everybody came back for this, except for the lead girl from the first one. Everybody came back for it. Including special effects, all the way through. Yep, that's a great bust. It goes over his issues that they had with the MPAA on all three films, especially the first one. Interviews with the producers, the actors, the effects guys, writer and director Frank Henenlotter's heavily featured, of course. It goes into his process with making the first one. He just wanted to see this movie, so he made it for himself. He didn't expect it to play anywhere, and of course it went on to be a huge success for $30,000 budget. The first one, I think the second one was a $1.5 million budget, and I think the third one was about $1 million budget. And they're a lot of fun. Some people hate these movies. Sculder can't stand it apparently, but I love these movies, and I really enjoyed this documentary. It's first class little production they did, and anything you've ever wanted to know about the Basket Case movies, it's in here, and I recommend checking it out if you're a fan at all.
Dude, I am fucking horrible with watching special features on my things. I buy all these limited edition things that I never watch a fucking special feature. Basket Case is literally on my top 10 movies, horror movies of all time, and I've never watched that fucking documentary. So I am now going to watch it. And
It's a full length, 90 minutes, 88 minutes, and anything and everything. I mean, through the production of all three movies, what he was thinking, how it worked. Gabe Bartalos is great in it. He did the effects for the second two. They have the effects guy for the first one, and it's for a Basket Case fan, it's a must, man. It's definitely the definitive documentary. There won't be another one, but it's just funny that
I'm pretty good at watching the special features. I've got that same release you just put up there on your recommendation, whatever, and I haven't watched that documentary yet, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's David Gregory, the owner of Severin, hired by Second Sight to do that documentary. I mean, it's just kind of crazy how it's intermingled like that. And David Gregory, apparently, he's done a lot. He's done a lot of documentaries, really. You know, he did that folk horror documentary, like he did that gay documentary Gizmo was just holding up. You know, there's all sorts of stuff. Like, it seems like he really is good at making documentaries. So I hope he does more.
Yeah, I read before I did. Sorry.
He's a Brit too. You know, I think Tony knows that already, but
I read right before the stream that he was the one. He and a colleague of his was the one that started like the home video market with behind the scenes stuff for real.
Yeah,
back in the 90s.
I would actually probably say it was more Charles Band, because Charles Band, his old full moon movies were on VHS, were the first movies to ever, at the end of the movie, if once you let the credits go, then it will show the making of the movie. So it's basically having special features before there was actually a disc where you could choose special features. So I would like to argue that probably Charles Band.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying what Google said.
he's got a computer in front of him. Yeah.
But I believe you. Google is fucking up the world. So.
Right. Yeah. Good pick, bro.
All right. So my number one, I'm going to say, is a documentary that I've never had something affect me this much before. For everybody that kind of knows me, I have 4 kids. I actually have a passion towards kids too. Like if I ever saw any kid, I don't even give a fuck if it's mine, in trouble, I would sacrifice my life to make sure that that kid was okay. That's how much I have an affinity for kids and love kids. So this documentary is another Netflix original. It is called The Trial of Gabriel Fernandez.
Oh, fuck.
This was probably the hardest documentary I've ever had to watch. Another thing about me too, I'm a very emotional man. I have high emotions. If I'm sad, I'm going to cry. If I'm angry, I'm going to fuck somebody up. If I'm depressed, I'm the lowest that I can be. I can't help it, just the way that I was born. And this, I literally could not sit down and just binge this series. After the first episode, I was fucking crying my ass off like a fucking baby. I said, I have to take a break from this fucking thing. I waited a couple days, watched the next episode, crying my fucking ass to this motherfucking thing like a baby. Had to again take it went like that until I finally finished it. But basically, it's about this mother and father. They live in Southern California. I believe they were both gang affiliated, but they had multiple kids. One of them, I believe he was the biological son of the mother, but not of the father. And they just treated him like shit. They treated him like shit. They, threw things at him, put cigarette butts out on him, shot him with BB guns, would lock him in cages and leave him there for days, barely fed him. At one time, the CPS actually took him away. He had to live with another family. It was actually a gay couple. So after, I don't know why the fuck the system ever gave the kids back to this goddamn fucking family, but I guess the gay couple ended up having to give him back to them. So once they gave him back to them, now, they call the kid a fag. They make him wear a dress and all this stuff like that. It's like, bitch, if you felt this way about these people, it's your fault that they went with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's so messed up. And, it all in all, I mean, they tortured this kid nonstop until he finally passed. And it's heartbreaking. And it's so terrible. what happened to this kid, and it just basically it goes through everything that this poor little kid had to endure, and then the trial following with that. But yeah, it was like I said, I like watching fucked up shit that people can do, but when it comes to kids, that's like where my limit goes, you know. Like Serbian film, I couldn't like or watch that film. I watched it once because I figure I always have to watch everything once. But once I got to the end once I got to what the fucking point of that movie was, I was like, I can't do this shit. I can't say that I enjoy it. But with this also, man, it was just so. I never had anything impact me like that so much, and I just felt so bad for this fucking kid, man. And I wish somebody would have listened to him, and I wish somebody would have saved him, and I wish what happened to him never happened to him. And I forgot. I know I looked into, because when, especially, there's a lot of politics within gang culture in California, and every politic that I know with gang culture, these motherfuckers would get killed the first second that they stepped in prison by other gang members. And I remember Googling it, and from what I think they're in a protective custody to where they haven't been touched yet. So it's just, it's really sad, because I hate to sound whatever, but I really wish something would happen to these people, because they do not deserve to walk the face of the earth. But that's all I have to say about that.
The worst thing I think with that series, sorry if I cut you off.
No,
it was when, I'm not spoiling anything because you have already said the story here, but it was the last episode or the second last episode when you see the mother in the courtroom, and she's like fucking Michael Myers sitting in there just looking straight at the judge and at her ex-boyfriend, or maybe they were together still, I don't remember. Yeah. And he was, at least in some way, you could see he has some emotion, like he was regretting something, but she was just a fucking monster.
Yep.
I can't understand how people can be like that.
Yep. I can't either, man. Like, especially with children, man. And especially like I think she was the biological mom. So literally you had to have this child inside of you for 9 months. You had to push this child out or have it cut out of you. And for you to fucking do that is just, it's the lowest of the low when it comes to humanity. It is pure evil. And it's just, it amazes me that people can do that. That's, to me, the saddest thing, man.
But I was also actually a little bit angry at the teacher, because I know she was trying to do whatever she could do, but when she saw that for like the 4th time or something, she should have just taken the kid home. She should never.
Yep, I agree.
But she was at least trying something, but still,
Yeah, I agree. I think with that, man, I think that, I agree, man. Me personally, if it was me, I would fucking took the kid and fucking found out some way to fucking help this kid, call the authority, call CPS, do something. I wouldn't care if they would try to, charge me with something illegal. Like, if you keep seeing a kid like this, battered and bruised, and having to send him back, a party was going to feel like, fuck, this is kind of my fault now. Or like, I'm part of this now, so I don't know, man. It's a tough watch. Very tough.
It was. Never again.
Yeah, I'm never gonna ever watch it again. I literally don't think my heart can handle it.
It was fucked up. Watch it.
Great number one. Sounds very uplifting.
I feel kind of bad talking about my documentary after that. That's hardcore real life shit. Whatever. Mine's more not. But my number one to kind of change speeds here a little bit. And I'm going to check that out, man. It sounds like a hard watch, but I'm probably going to check it out. I made a note of it. But my number one is going to be Q28, the Quentin Tarantino documentary. Nice. Man, I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan, and if you are as well, you owe it to yourself to check this out if you haven't seen it. This is, I don't remember the runtime. It's like, I think it's like maybe a couple hours, but it goes into really deep dive to his first 8 films, interviews all the stars of the film, Michael Madsen, shit like that. And I thought they did a really fucking great job of going to like interviewing the actors, talking about how the films were made, stuff like that. It was directed by Tara Wood, a documentary that focuses on the first 21 years of Quentin Tarantino's career, includes interviews with his frequent collaborators. Break it down kind of like in chapters, kind of like his movies. Chapter 1's called The Revolution, covers Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. Michael Madsen, this is some of the stuff that I learned in the documentary. Michael Madsen was driving a tow truck or like a delivery truck or something when he got the call to audition for Reservoir Dogs. And he said pretty much changed his life. Everyone had to provide their own suits. They had like no budget at all. So he told everybody, he said, look, we'll provide the ties. Everybody's got to provide their own suits. If you notice in the movie, Steve Buscemi's wearing jeans because he didn't own any black dress pants. And so in the movie, he's like the only one that's not wearing like dress pants in the movie. And like the Michael Madsen didn't know how to dance. And he has that scene where he cuts off the dude's ear and he's dancing or whatever. He said that after he cut off the ear, Quentin Tarantino was telling him, okay, just throw it down. He said, well, I wanted to do something a little different. So he goes and talks into the ear and it kind of throws it down. And of course, Quentin Tarantino loved that shit. You know, they were supposed to do they wanted Michael Madsen to be in Pulp Fiction, but he was busy making Wyatt Earp, whatever, so he couldn't do Pulp Fiction, you know. But so they brought in John Travolta. And then, of course, later on, they were going to do the Vega Brothers movie, which never happened. It was supposed to be a prequel. By the time they were going to get around to doing it, both actors were too old. So that never happened. I would have loved to have seen that. It goes into chapter 2, which was called Badass Women and Genre Play, whenever Jackie Brown and the Kill Bill movies. Fantastic movies. I mean, I love his whole filmography. I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan, and I was just eating this shit up watching it. Chapter 3 goes into it's called Justice. It covers Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained, and The Hateful Eight. And it kind of dips a little bit into the Harvey Weinstein shit because you know the Weinstein Company, you know, produced all these movies and shit, and they say that he was just a crazy fuck. And they go into how this guy was just a terrible person to be around. Michael Madsen tells some stories. Just really fucking super interesting. And I think they pretty much interview pretty much everybody from all the movies. Samuel Jackson's on there, you know, said some really good shit, talking about some of the behind the scenes stuff. And like I said, if it's a Quentin Tarantino, if you're a Quentin Tarantino fan, watch this documentary. It's great as fuck. It's out there on streaming. You can check it out. I want to say I watched it. I think I watched this one on Pluto, but I think it's on Tubi also. Yeah, it's a really, really good documentary about his movies. It really is.
Yeah. Cool.
So well, that's my number one. So that's the one I enjoyed the most. The other ones hit me a little bit harder, but that one there was the one I definitely enjoyed the most out of what I watched getting ready for the stream. So
usually I'm the one with the sad, depressing, old sad bastard shit. I'm over here. This is a lot of fun. Lighthearted, you know, just a lot of blast.
All right, let's catch up on chat here, guys, and we'll get on out of here. All right, Chris says WWE is hot garbage now. Fuck it, LOL.
Yeah, it's shit now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh hell yeah, I have that DVD of Forever Hardcore. I love it. And never seen Forever Hardcore Masters of the 80s, says Wild Wrangler.
Definitely worth a watch.
Good one for sure.
Dirk says, damn, Tony, I didn't realize you love wrestling so much. It was much cooler when we were young. Then again, everything was. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think every generation thinks that, but I feel like we were justified a little bit.
Yeah.
Chris says, watch the stuff with New Jack. It is so damn brutal. He was a former corrections officer. Rest in peace, my friend. By the way, Nick Gage is the second coming of what true hardcore is.
Yeah, there's a documentary about Nick Gage on the dark side of the ring. He was like a drug addict and bank robber and hardcore wrestler. He cut David Arquette's throat in a wrestling match.
Oh shit!
That really happened.
Yeah.
Wow. All I know says Shane Douglas cut my fucking music. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm sure you guys probably do.
Yeah. Shane Douglas was great at cutting promos, but just going fucking nuts with it.
Gotcha. Dirk said, so who do y'all think the movie The Wrestler is about? And Brad's a big fan of that. What do you think, bro?
It's a culmination of all their stories, you know, because many people it could be about.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying here.
Not any one. They pulled stories from all different wrestlers and blended into one.
I thought it was more about a woman trapped in a man's body.
All right.
So it could be a number of wrestlers, Dirk. It's sad. I do remember when Kurt Hennig died. his father said no dad should bury their son. Yep. It's about John Cena or The Rock, Dirk, of course.
Yeah, one of the very successful ones. It's about Hulk Hogan.
And they said Forever Hardcore sounds badass. I love the rise and fall of WCW. Dan will never be like that again.
Yeah.
It was like alternative music for wrestlers. It was the alternative wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you knew, you knew, and it was very kind of private type of thing. It was really weird. Like,
I mean, there's not been much since after it. I mean, AEW are trying the hardest at the moment to try and do something. A few years back, there was another promotion coming out of Mexico called Lucha Underground. They really tried. That was a good promotion. Everything looked really good there. But to get what ECW were doing, I mean, man, even to watch it on TV, it looked grainy. It looked dirty. You know what I mean? It just everything about it didn't look polished. It just looked rough around the edges, and everyone seemed to love it for it.
Absolutely.
Of course, the Tommy Dreamer, the Dudley Boys, my God. Something else about the Quentin Tarantino stream I forgot to mention is he was sleeping on he was staying on his buddy's couch whenever he went over to Cannes Film Festival to show Reservoir Dogs. And by the time that was over with, he said he came back and his roommate was going, "What the fuck? Did you have any idea this was going to be this big?" And he just became like an overnight fucking superstar after that movie. And of course, Pulp Fiction, catapulted. He's sleeping on his fucking buddy's couch. You know,
it's going to be Gizmo next year. Gizmo's taking his movie to Cannes.
No, I'm making now my mother's birthday. You know, the first film Tarantino did. No one has heard about it.
Saying what's up to Chris? Chris said, "Yo, Anthony, I'm buzzed, but when they bring up my childhood attitude, ERA wrestling, and WCW and ECW and WWF were the best ever, like Cat 3, you can't do that no more."
No.
That was old school shit back when men were men. Chris said, "Gizmo, watch Extreme Prejudice. Yeah, it is a good movie. I love that movie, but it was a box office flop back in the day."
Is that a movie from the beginning of the 90s or end of the 80s or something? I think I had it on VHS.
Into the 80s, I think. It just got re-released.
I think I had it on VHS.
Yeah, Vestron put it out.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
One,
with Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte. Yeah.
You would love that.
That's a good one.
I think I've seen it. But it's been years.
Really odd title for them to put out, but it doesn't really sit within the franchise.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's
right.
a great fucking movie.
Cool
Man. A lot of stars in that too. Dirk said, "Gizmo, I'd rather watch a shitty blue tuber stream than Showgirls." Fuck that fucking movie, man. Goddamn.
Well, we are different.
Come on, Dirk. That's too far. Trini says, "Damn, no love for Showgirls."
Trini likes Showgirls.
Showgirls
and
is a masterpiece.
He likes what is that thing called? You mentioned it, Benicio. It's a really shitty movie. It's crazy. The ending with the baby.
Serbian film?
Yeah, Serbian film. Trini loves the Serbian film.
Well, I don't like Serbian film, but I like Showgirls. So we are different.
Trini says there's a point that we're missing to it. I don't care what the point is.
It's about the politics in the country. That's
It was just an extreme movie of him fighting back with the politics, but I don't like his analogy. You know, like that's too much.
Yeah.
If they cut away that child scene in the film, then it could have been good.
Well, I mean, there's not only the child scene at the fucking end when he says what he says, but then there's this thing where he's raping his own goddamn son, dude.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. The one where you see
I'm talking about the other one also, where the fucking baby's she's giving birth.
Yeah.
Hands him right.
Sorry.
Finish the movie.
Yeah, it's just
I have seen it, but I probably blocked out something.
Yeah. You have PTSD from it.
Yeah, that's what I got, man. That shit's embedded in my head, unfortunately, now.
Yeah, and he says Extreme Prejudice with Nick Nolte is fucking awesome. Holland says, where's Scolder? He'd love that, Brad.
He's in Narnia right now.
That's a good one, Brad. Chris said, Gizmo, I agree with a lot of modern cinema. I do like Scream 5 because of Miss Ortega, but it's a bit too Gen Z for me with the tropes it has.
Yeah. I agree. Jenna Ortega's
There's
the
a
best.
doc on the Untold Story that I would highly recommend. It's a very, very good one about a quick history of Cat 3 films. Yeah, it was a good one.
Hey.
Yeah, it's 90
I
minutes.
think Brad pulled it up in the last stream, I think.
Yeah,
Isn't
Really?
that one of your top 5 in the list?
Huh, I got to check that one out.
It's on the Untold Story. You have the release, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
That's
Oh.
the
Dirk said HBO did it first with behind the scenes shit, and he's laughing.
Unearthed Films, Untold Story.
Yep.
The White Slip. Yeah. It's a 90-minute documentary. It's mentioned on the back of the slip
Oh.
there.
Yeah, it's a
Damn.
good one, man. It's worth it.
I got more better with my special features.
Yeah, you got a lot of gold on that shelf, man. You need to dig through it.
I know, man. If I could just watch the movie, then that's it.
Chris says, I've seen that documentary, Benicio. Yeah, those parents deserve the death penalty.
Yup.
Yep. Alex said, it's so refreshing and awesome to see a man be unashamed of showing emotion. We're all human and we're all allowed to feel our feelings. So much respect for you, Benicio.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, my dad was an asshole and said that men don't cry. Then luckily, I don't talk to him anymore. So I'm my own man, and I teach my kids to love people. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Dirk said, damn, Benicio, that sounds like some sad ass shit. I don't know if I'd be watching that one.
Yeah, it is, bro. But that's why I had it number 1, because I never had anything affect me like that. So yeah.
Chris said, hey to Allie, sorry I forgot to welcome you. Dirk said, damn, Pops, haven't seen that Tarantino doc either. What the fuck, hell yeah. It's a good one, man. It's the best I've seen for him. So
that's cool.
It's done pretty well. Chris says, Benicio needs a Punisher. Benicio needs a Punisher shirt. The guilty will be punished.
Yep. There you go.
Great pick, Pops, says Chris. Dirk says, punishment due. Benicio says, fucking right. Them bitches need to be beat to the white meat.
Yep.
Okay. I love to hear
he is
talk like
Dirk
that.
is Cajun. For y'all that don't know, Dirk, he is Cajun. So, beat to the white meat. There's a
That's a great freaking analogy. And that's awesome.
Dirk, keep it coming. I love to hear Pops read your lines.
Crusher ECW fan, I'm guessing there.
Yeah, whenever they would do something crazy in ECW, the crowd would chant.
The chant. But it was always the same chant, so it was always the clap.
Yeah.
You can't wrestle. I mean, just shitloads of it.
Somebody would jump from the rafters through a table, and then they would start chanting ECW when they thought somebody was dead.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's been some close points for it where people have nearly died.
Sure.
New Jack nearly died. He did a 25-foot stage dive. The guy that he jumped off the ledge with tried to back out on the last second. So instead of diving, they both just fell. And New Jack hit the floor, stomach down, and brain fluid come through his nose and out of his ear. And he lost sight in one eye.
He probably made.
That sounds pretty fucking hardcore. Brain fluid dripping out of your nose. That's never a good sign.
Yeah.
Dirk said, I have the old school news music going through my head. Yeah, story at 11. Chris said Nick Gage was technically dead. They helicoptered him out, revived him, and he said, "Get me the F back there."
Yeah, he got cut open real bad in a match, and his ribs were sticking out.
Yeah,
and he tried to duct tape it back together with a towel stuck in the hole and go back and finish the match. And
duct tape does fix everything. You can fix anything with duct tape.
He was trying to stick he had a giant hole in the side, and he was trying to stick a rag in there and then tape over it and go back out there, because they flew a guy in from Germany who was this crazy death wrestler or something, and for the event in the middle of nowhere, Delaware, and they had to live fight him out. He almost died there. Jeez. He lived to rob 2 more banks, so
nice.
Thankfully.
Trinity said, I can't remember the name, but have anyone seen the documentary about the puppy mills in the U.S. and China? I think it was the HBO Hard Watch. I think it was HBO's The Hard Watch.
I think I have.
I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen it.
Wild Wrangler, greatest is love. Trinity said the movie itself is good. The kid scene I could do without. I look at it as a movie and not real. In real life, I would kill myself just saying.
Yeah.
Train saying Kal-El. Chris says Texas death matches, aka Nick fucking Gage.
Yeah.
So guys, we're caught up here, guys. So we did it in 3 hours. Not bad. Not bad
It's a
for
good
us.
Yeah.
stream. Good run time.
Yeah, man. Like I see, I got a good 4 or 5 recommendations, so I'm gonna start checking out. That's always good doing these kind of streams.
Start with Hitler.
But,
and
yeah,
Hollywood.
man.
No.
That one didn't make the cut. That one didn't make the cut.
What's in the basket? What's in the basket will make you want to watch all the sequels to Basket Case.
Yeah. But anybody got anything they want to pimp, promote before we get out of here? Anything coming up on your channels or anything?
I've a couple of videos coming up. Nothing that'll light YouTube up or anything, but I've a few coming up in the next couple of days.
Gizmo's leaving for the wilderness to do principal photography or whatever for his movie here immediately. So that'll be cool.
It's going to be
I'm
out
sure
in 1,000 theaters across America.
it will be in no theaters. It'll be
No theaters. Maybe on a disc in a basement in Germany.
yeah. We buy all the copies on the stream, so we give them out as gifts.
I think for me, next Monday is going to be the new episode of Vin versus Vin. Not this Monday coming up right now, but next Monday. And that's going to be at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And that one's going to be the top 5 found footage films.
Oh, cool.
Hell yeah, man. Dirk, I appreciate it, buddy. You the man.
Nice.
Press the like button. Yeah, y'all press the like button. Subscribe to everybody. Everybody's links down below as always. So I
There's
appreciate
going
it,
to be
Dirk.
there'll be some haul streams coming up and bullshitting streams and whatever else.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm working on my next review and new series. I started reviews from the dungeon. I just did Fear, Marky Wahlberg, 1996. Before that, I did the something else kind of cool. I happened to both to me and Brad actually. The first review I did was The Battery, low budget zombie movie. Well, the cinematographer of that movie commented on the damn video, which is pretty cool. And that the same guy who was the co-director of After Midnight commented on the WTF stream that Brad had over at his channel. So I kind of geeked out over that. I mean, like I said, it's just small potatoes, kind of cinematographer / director, but it was really cool. The guy that made the movie commented on the review, kind of geeked on that a little bit.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he explains in the WTF. He explains exactly what they were thinking and in the comments, and whether it's ambiguous, whether it's not ambiguous, and all that. So it's good.
That is hella cool.
Yep.
It's like pretty cool, dude. But yeah, y'all check out those reviews. I got some more coming up. I'm working on my 3rd one now. I'm gonna try to get those. I'm trying to do at least one a week. Just a movie that I watched that I really fucking like and really fucking hated or whatever. I'm as soon as I turn it off, I get in front of the camera and give my immediate thoughts. Just something I'm trying out on my channel. I'm enjoying doing it. They're not getting a whole lot of likes. The first one did just fucking hit 100 views, killing it.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping those kind of get some legs under them. I'm really enjoying doing those kind of videos.
On that Fear one for sure.
No, he did a really good review of Thriller, Cruel Picture, that got a ton of views. So, they'll catch on.
That one did very well. So I was hoping, but I mean, that was also a hot topic at the time. Everybody was talking about it. It was kind of a big deal. These movies I'm doing, I mean, Fear just came out from Mill Creek. Yeah, there you go. But it's not a movie that's in everybody's thoughts, and The Battery definitely ain't. It's just a movie that kind of stood out for me when I watched it. It was kind of one of those blind watches that really surprised the shit out of me. And those are the kind of the reviews I want to do, not something that's a big deal. It just came out. Let's talk about it. I'm trying to bring movies out that maybe some people ain't never seen or never heard of.
Yeah.
That I think are great. So that's kind of where I'm kind of going with that. Not to say I won't do some new release movies and big title movies, but for the most part, it's going to be the lesser knowns. So. But Wild Wrangler said not the pops and the crew. Appreciate it, man. Chris says, found footage films. Hell yeah, Benicio. Love the genre of horror.
Yep.
Yeah, get that shit off my fucking.
It's in my cell bundle, or how you say it. Like I'm going to sell it.
Yeah,
that's.
I never bought it, man. I watched it on streaming. I never bought it.
Yeah, I love Unearthed, so I have to support them, man. And I buy them all.
This is a limited with the CD and everything, so I'm trying to sell it now for $100.
Nice.
Fucking scalper.
You should pay somebody $100 to take it.
That's true. I agree with you.
Chris said Cloverfield's his #1 found footage, by the way. Shows a great stream. Peace out, broskies. Appreciate it, Chubbs. Thanks for being here, buddy. Blue Ruin, check it out.
Yeah, Blue Ruin's great.
Yeah.
I recommended that to Alan like 2 years ago or something. He still
That's footage.
I have watched
No,
that.
it's not
Yeah, I did
found
watch
footage.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
did find
found
that.
footage.
That was actually a good one. That was actually a really good one.
See how he says it when I recommend something? He goes,
I don't mean it
"That's
the way
actually
I think what I meant. But that was I did enjoy that one. I did enjoy that one. But you've only had 1 or 2 recommendations I didn't like. Everything else I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
So, but Chris says awesome stream. I'll love it when you gents do this. I appreciate you being there, Chris, as always, man. Alice says I love your review videos, Pops. Keep them coming. Appreciate it, Alice. Appreciate that. Trini says Fear was a re-release. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other one, the old one.
Yeah, Chris says, Grass, by the way, Pops, you have over 1,000 followers.
Be at 2,000 soon.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's slow going right now, man. I think I'm still shy of 1,400. I'm at like 1,300 something, I think. But
Nice.
What's that 1,000, man? I mean, I still make live streams like crazy, but I wasn't pumping out the videos near as much. So my followers kind of slowed down quite a bit. But I'm hoping to get those numbers back up again. But guys, it's been a blast, y'all.
Yeah, it was fun.
What's that?
Just be nude on your next stream.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll keep them coming.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, it's been a blast. Well, we'll be back soon with something else. We're always coming up with the next top 5, all that kind of shit.
Yep.
But yeah, I enjoyed it, man. We might do a part 3 to this.
Part 3 of the documentary stream.
That's definitely going to happen. Yeah.
That one we're gonna have 20 people watching.
Yeah.
But you guys have a good rest of your weekend, guys. We'll be back soon.
For sure.
You guys take care.
Later.
See you later.